And we're live from Toronto. We're going worldwide and we're coming for you. Wherever you are, we're coming for you. What's up? But there's nobody to come for because there's zero in the chat. I see big donuts. I see circles. We'll give you a minute. What's up, everybody? My heart is racing. My heart is racing. I wonder if I'm in love or is it anxiety? Is it love or anxiety? Here they come. The troopers are here and they're marching in and we're moving forward. We know what we want and we're going after it because we always get what we want because we're warriors. Sparta! Who's with me here? Who in this chat always gets what they want? Because that's what life is. Life is giving. It's coffee time. It's always coffee time. Always, always coffee time. Coffee is life. Coffee is fuel. Where would I be without you, coffee? My one and true love. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? We got 21 in the chat. Hope I have. Oh, if I look, I hope to see 21 likes because I'm here for you. Please be here for me. And that's what relationships are all about being here for each other. Okay. It's not give, and no take. It's give and take. In whatever relationship you are in, it should be even and fair. Here we are. Quiet. 9 likes. I feel like I'm being manipulated here. Why do I feel like I'm being manipulated? Okay, so let's see the chat here. Okay, so I have pinned at the top where you can get Belle. Thank you so much. These are going like hotcakes, and I'm really, really grateful. Opened up to Hong Kong. Somebody had asked about shipping to Hong Kong for Les Abstraits, and I opened it up. And the moment I did, the person came through and they purchased the bottle. I get questions all the time, like DMs and this, what about this? What about that? And I take my time and I answer all the questions to the best that I can. And you never hear any response. The people just kind of disappear. And it's like, all right, why are you asking if you're not? I don't know what they're really looking for, but I give them a response and they disappear. But it's nice to see that when people actually follow through with their sincerity. So open up to Hong Kong, and your package is going to go out tonight. Thank you, whoever you are. There's a lot. We sold a lot of bottles of Les Ubs today so far, and I'm really, really proud and grateful. And it's fulfilled me completely. A lot of the people, when I fulfill the orders, I go through the names. I'm very conscious of what I'm doing. You know, I put a lot of, like, I try to put in a lot of good energy, and I'm conscious of my surroundings. And, you know, I sign a card, and when I send it off to whoever it's going to, I want them to kind of feel the same energy when they unbox it or open it, and, you know, take that energy and put that back into the world. But a lot of times the names are very familiar to me. I recognize the names because it's a lot of people here in the chat that are buying these, friends of the channel. But there's a lot of times where the name is unrecognizable to me. I don't know if it's somebody that just watches and doesn't comment. It's a lurker. It's maybe a person that comments under a different name. But whoever they are, you know, I want to thank them and let them know that they're appreciated, because it means everything to me. So thank you, whoever you are. You know, you're very much appreciated. It's nice and it feels good. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So yeah, and I've been getting some other comments by a regular viewer, a long-time viewer, and it seems like they're kind of confused about the process of creating perfumes with Antoine Lee and Les Abstraits. And I'm not entirely sure I understand where this person is coming from, where the ground that they're standing on, because I've been very clear from the very beginning of this entire process, the creation process, um, from day one, before I had even like signed with a perfumer, So I've been very open. I have been very forward with all the information that I have. Like, I don't think you're going to find any other perfume that's been created with so much information out there about the process. Um, and it feels almost like they are doubting the process, or they're skeptical, and they've gone on to call this brand like a parfum de Zoom brand, because the perfumes were created with Antoine Lee over Skype calls, over Zoom calls, meetings. And I've never declared that I was the perfumer of these. That would be absolutely silly and atrocious and a complete myth. I would never put that out into the world. I don't claim that I've ever perfumed these, but I claim that these were inspired by my own trials, my own experiences, my own tribulations, that I wanted to put out into a fragrance, into a perfume. And that's exactly what I did. Just like any other creative director, they get inspiration from some. It could be a box of chocolates. And this has been my inspiration. So I don't know how else to answer this, because the person keeps coming back over and over and over again with the same comments. And I decided to, instead of answering him in the comment section, which, whatever I tell him, I imagine won't be good enough. It won't make them happy, to just, say it out loud for everybody to hear. Because there's no secret. I don't hold any secrets, man. Whatever you want to know, I'm here, right? So there's no wool being pulled over your eyes, or I think I'm misunderstanding, or the other person might be upset. I don't know. It feels like they're a little bit frustrated. But if you want to come on, I'll give you the link and we can discuss it. But let me say hello to everybody. I wanted to get that out of the way because it's something that I've been thinking about. What's up, Shiva? Jonathan, Yossi, Spaced Out. It's good to see everybody. Daneem, what's happening? Fosco's and Iris, Nazarena. I really need to smell that. Rich Mitch has been talking about that a lot in the backstage chats. He's looking for a bottle. Galen keeps teasing us because he's got several of the minis. So yes, always coffee time. Nothing but love, Daneem. Nothing but love. That's all that's here. And we love coffee. What's up, Mike K? What's up, Justin? Howdy from the UK. Yes. Okay. So another question I got from the UK was tracking about shipping. And yes, we are shipping to the UK. However, they're not with tracked packages. They are shipped small packet, and packets usually arrive there in about 5 business days. The last several that I've sent, the receivers have let me know, and they've come within 5 to 7 business days. There was a time where it cost $100 to ship a package to the UK, but since we've gotten a discount on shipping, and shipping still costs me $50 to ship to the UK, but that's with tracking. However, because we're charging 19, right, we're taking a loss on shipping. There's no tracking included. So just hope it shows up, and it will, because none of our packages have ever not showed up except for one sample. There's been 2 samples that haven't shown up. One was to California and one was to Germany. And we've since replaced those with, we've sent out other samples. So no fear. There's nothing to fear. Everything's going to be okay. What's up, Drew? And so another interesting point is, the first person that bought La Douleur Exquise from the Les Ups Today website was, and I don't want to say his name, it's just for privacy, was also the first person that purchased Belle. So this person was very quick on the draw, and he was the first to buy both perfumes. So if you're watching, thank you. I don't want to give away your. I think he's a familiar like the name is familiar. I'm not sure what the name and the user, the YouTube channel is, but shout outs to you. What's up, Drawn by Sense? Howdy. Justin's and Cristal. Beautiful. Congratulations. I was going to do a live stream last night, but I didn't have any clean t-shirts. I came home from work. I was like, yeah, I'll do a live stream, but I didn't have any clean black t-shirts. So I did a bunch of laundry this morning. What's up, Tasha? Good to see you. Vroom, vroom. Yes, all day. Vroom, vroom. Christy. Hello, Christy. Shiva's in Overture, Man and Woman. They'll give, only take. Welcome to society, man. This is what's happening. They're just taking and taking and taking. And we need to wake up and we need to reflect and we need to realize that before it gets too late. I think it might even be too late. I don't know if there's going back unless we have some sort of I've got a friend here. I hope that goes back. But we need some sort of revolution, or we need something to shake this shit off of us. Yes, go make some coffee. We'll be here when you get back. Or take us with you, even better. Yossi says, Jossie, I don't know how do you want to be called, but I might make some espresso coffee for the street. Make one for me too. I would love it. Denim finally got 2 bottles of Parfum de Marley. My condolences, Denim. So sorry to hear that. I'm just kidding, by the way. We appreciate you doing this live stream. I appreciate you for being here. If you weren't here, Denim, this live stream wouldn't be real. This would be an imaginary live stream. This would not be a live stream. What's up, Adam D? Good to see you. I have licked the video more than my dog. Lick. How many licks are we at? We got 51 viewers, 21 licks. See, again, very one-sided relationship. Very one-sided. I would not want to be in a relationship with many of you. You're not giving back. You're just taking. It's very unfortunate. I lick my dog too. I love dogs. I really want a dog. I think in my older life, I'm going to have a dog. Or many. I would like to have like maybe 2 dogs. 2 miniature schnauzers. The small ones with the wire hair. I love the wiry hair of the schnauzer. It feels so amazing. And I love just kind of the stance that they hold and the pointy ears and the stubby tail and the long beard. They look so aristocratic. They look like they should be reading philosophy or something. You know, maybe I'll read philosophy to my dogs and we'll go out and we'll chase rats and run through the forest and step on leaves and crackling branches and stuff like that. I look forward to that. But I'm enjoying my life now just as much. So we woke you up with a notification. That's what we are, man. We're your alarm to life, buddy. My new resolution is purchase a bottle of your fragrance. That's a good resolution. Awesome. Sampling Belle right now. Jonathan says, sampling Belle right now. For some reason, a booziness hit me today. Ooh, what do you mean booziness? Booziness. I'm not sure I recognize the booziness, but I'm going to spray some on. I'm not wearing anything yet, but I'm going to wear this. Right at the top, there is this massive reflection of light. That's what I get hit with. Shards of light. And then this dry down of dark, deep chocolate. It's this beautiful contrast of light and chocolate. Almost like that light, that moment of birth. Can I get a piece? I don't want to wake up. I'm not going to say you and me and you, we got to talk. I think that's all we do sometimes is just talk. But it's good. You learn when you talk. You learn when you talk to other people, when they share wisdom. And you can definitely, that's what, you know, a great part of life is about, learning from people that have been there before. I love the magnetic cap. I think, yeah, I love that. That's my favorite part as well, is that magnetic cap. I love it. I love it. Just that sound. It's just like, it just sounds like me, you know? It sounds like me. That's what I sound like. What's up, Rich? Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Scent of Yesterday, says JP Music, Vanille Havan. Yes, a great tobacco vanilla. Galen, I need my laundry picked up. I need some new hashtags for Belle. What hashtags should I be using? What else do I need? I'll send you a message. I need a lot of things. Hi, Galen. Where can I find your review of Boy? I think Galen took down a lot of his videos, as did Early Greek for some reason. I think they were kind of too embarrassed to kick out with all the loser YouTube fragrance reviewers. I think they thought they were like way cooler, which they are. I don't blame them, and they removed all their all their content. See this? Les Abstrait is not a Zoom brand; it's a StreamYard brand. Bam! End of the stream right there, man. That's it. That's it. End of the stream. I'm out of. Ah, Lord. I'm gonna stab you, Galen. When you come over here, I'm gonna stab you, you know, where it hurts, on the left side. I'm gonna make sure it's on the left side. Right where your soul is. What's up, Hub Zero? Whoever you are, go to the beginning and start there. Very wise words, Phil. Go to the beginning. It was always the beginning. What's up, Bilbo? Good seeing you. Whoever you are, you're hilarious. Keep it up. Keep it going, Bilbo. Don't give up. I believe in you, Bilbo. I believe in you, man. Whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, I believe in you. Hub Zero, thanks. Congratulations for your second release. Thank you, Hub Zero. I appreciate it. I can't wait for the world to smell them. I can't wait. But thank you all for sharing, you know, for sharing the content, for sharing the perfumes and the posts and everything. Without you guys, you know, you guys make it all happen. You guys make it what it is. You guys are the ones that support the brand and help it grow. So I appreciate that as well. And I find that the people that are supporting and believing in me are also the same people that believe in themselves and have some sort of goals and dreams and realization. So I feel like I've been somewhat of an inspiration for a lot of people, and it feels good. And I'm glad to have done so. I have people contacting me. Seriously, I've never had so many people contact me as now. A lot of them are influencers and they want to collaborate and they want free bottles, like people I've never heard of that aren't part of my world. They're unrecognizable to me, and I usually don't respond. Um, you know, but in order for me to work with somebody, it just has to feel right. You know, I just kind of I get a feeling, and if it feels good, I'd be happy to work with anybody. If it doesn't, I usually don't even respond. But that's what's happening. And I get people, you know, contacting me about that, about collaborating. They want free bottles, and they're going to promote it on their travel channel, or I don't know what the fuck, whatever they're doing. Or it's people saying, hey, I really appreciate, you know, I've been watching your journey, I appreciate you, how can I get in touch with a perfumer, or how can I do something similar? So I just got one of those yesterday. A guy that has created his own perfumes, but he would like for a master perfumer to finish them up, to round them up, or just kind of give him some criticism or critique him, or give him something to propel him into the future. Galen needs to change his name to what should we rebrand Galen to? The cynical realist. How about that? The cynical realist. Fosco loves Rich Mitch. I miss Galen's reviews as well. I really enjoyed Galen's straight up non bullshit reviews. I miss your reviews, senior at the realist. Yeah, Galen's a great guy. I enjoy Galen immensely, more than I'll ever tell him in person, because I don't want it to get to his head. But what's great about Galen is he calls me, and Galen he has that right to call without scheduling an appointment, and I love that. Um, that's awesome. I think it would be weird if somebody just calls without, like, and I've had that happen as well. People call and you're like, "What the fuck is this? Like, why is somebody calling me?" Like, it's weird. It's weird in this day and age. Phyllis says, last proof of Douleur I got was a photo image of the package midair. Damn, guy couldn't even wait for it to drop, eh? Damn UPS drivers, Canada Post, whoever's delivering. But that's training, man. That's like the Air Jordan of UPS drivers. What's up, Stefan? Caron. He's in Caron. That. He's in that. Whatever that says right there. Alan Hansen. Alan Hansen, I got your text message in the middle of the night. Thank you so much for thinking of me. Greetings sent to the day. Ombre de Coco by Riche Lador. Okay. I'm surprised brands are allowed to use that word cocoa without getting harassed by Chanel. This person who first bought from website should be the brand ambassador. Yeah. I'll tell you this, it's a very special address that they have. Very special. I look at that address, I'm like, damn. There's only one address like that in the world. A very special address. And thank you. Thank you so much to that person. Eugene, you could have improvised the live stream suitable garment made out of micro. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Send today music for a while. I got to wear that more. I really like that for something sweet. Kenzo, do you find that sweet at all? Kenzo has great taste. I like the things that Kenzo posts up here. Get a Shiba Inu. Too hairy, a lot of hair. I want like one of those non-shedding dogs. Hair is a deal. Hair would be a deal breaker for me. I'm not into hair. Galen's and Lardizan. Enriquez. Okay, I'm gonna move up. Get a cat. Lower maintenance. I'm a dog guy, to be honest. Border Collie, Princess. Woof woof. Hey Taffy, what's up? And Taffy's a breeder of dogs, I believe. Border Collie. Princess Mabel says woof woof. Well, woof woof back, Mabel. Christy had a Schnauzer. I love Schnauzers. Ombre Nomad. Yeah, very high pitch. Nice perfume. Ombre Nomad is the rose oud, right? I think it's a nice perfume, even though it's built on massive synthetic accord. And I would say there's very little to no oud in that perfume. I don't want to get sued or liable in a harassment, but that's my gut feeling, is there's very little to real oud in there. I'd say there's more real oud in MFK's velvet or cashmere. But again, just like a micro dose, and then they build an oud accord on top of that. Pradeep says, what's up, Pradeep? Le Parfum de Tres seems to be on thin ice. Hope it doesn't go the way of a dinosaur. Yeah, and Rich has told me that music for a while is getting really hard for him to find in the UK, or it's not available at all in the UK, asking if I could find it here in Toronto. TB says, long time lurker, good luck with your brand. Thank you so much, TB. I appreciate it. It's good to hear from you. A lot of lurkers here. A lot of people don't want to be, they don't want to comment. Maybe they don't have an account, or maybe they don't want to be seen. Maybe there are other big YouTubers. I don't know. A lot of big YouTubers don't really come here, do they? Who are some of the others? Hmm. Oh, yeah, talking about having influencers come in my inbox. I've had the biggest, I've had the biggest come in the Les Ups Today inbox, kind of spamming me with requests for free bottles. Not sure if he realizes it's me, but it's a very generic letter. It doesn't even state like the name of the brand. It's just like hi brand, It literally wrote hi brand, not even hi Les Ups Today. It's like hi brand. It's insert name of influencer. What's up, Blizzard? What's happening? I sampled Scorpio Rising. I actually have first impressions on video. I haven't uploaded yet. If you guys want to see that, I can drop that right after this stream. That's the only one I've taken out like for a full day, and I like it. It's a lovely perfume. Not at all what I thought it was going to be. Very different. Have you tried Scorpio Rising, Fosco? Hello, everyone. 68. How many likes are we at? 30 likes. We're halfway. Halfway. Ooh, Jonathan says, yesterday I got a paper note at the top. Today there's a boozy, rich, honeyed whiskey vibe in Belle. I don't get whiskey, Jonathan. I don't get whiskey. I got to be honest. But if you do, it's there, man. Sir, yes, sir. How far back am I? 151. I'm at least 10 minutes back. Galen is the stream ender. Probably one of my favorite videos on YouTube was Galen's Eternal, Ombre Eternal. Although Douleur Exquise 5 years from now is like a pinprick compared to that. That's what Galen said the other day. He goes, in 5 years, this is going to be. I got to be careful with my words. He said something to that effect. Rizzard says his Belle will arrive on Monday. Awesome. Come back and let us know. Bobby O says, okay. What's up, Bobby O? Good seeing you, man. Just sprayed this Iris Cacao Suede. Yeah, Belle, this is a compliment getter, like it or not. Iris and chocolate. Iris and cacao, iris and tonka bean resin, musks, uplifting musks. Can I get a free bottle? Maybe you can. Maybe I can do a giveaway. Maybe somebody can get a free bottle. How about that? Is there tracking? Yes. All orders have tracking to the US. Absolutely. You guys are too funny. In the process of creating the brand and sense, what has been the most and least fun so far? Oh, great question. There's been a lot of things that have been fun. And even the things that, honestly, the things that has been the least fun are the things that have taught me the most. And those end up being the best parts, if that makes any sense, because I learned so much about myself through that process, are those challenges and those obstacles. And once you learn it, you never need to learn it again. It just becomes like riding a bike. Do you remember the first time you got on a bike and you probably fell down and your dad yelled at you and called you all kinds of horrible names? No, that didn't happen. No, I don't remember that part either. But do you remember the first time you ride a bike and you're like, oh, I'm never gonna figure this out? But you do. You eventually get it. And that's like the obstacles. The obstacles are so minute, but in your mind you build them to be bigger things than they really are. So it takes a practice of attacking them or figuring out different ways. Like for me to go to work, I could take 5 different ways, but I pick the route that is most efficient for me. But it takes going all the other routes to figure that out, right? So it's just getting past those obstacles, I think, has been which ended up being the best parts. But working with a master perfumer has been amazing. Um, to do to be involved in this space that I love so much, and to actually go further than just talking about perfume on YouTube. Um, it's brought so many new experiences into my life that wouldn't have been possible without. So yeah, I appreciate that. There's just so many things that I can talk about. Um, everything, everything. Even like seeing the feedback from you guys and your experiences has been um it's been enjoyable too. Even reading the criticism, it's like I get a kick out of that, right? In this sick and twisted way. But GMG says, good evening, everyone. Just wanted to say Les Obstetra is the only YouTube related brand that I don't perceive as a YouTube brand. That's a great, thank you so much. I appreciate that too. But the truth is I'm a YouTuber, right? And I don't want to, I don't want it to pretend that it's anything that it isn't. That would just go against all the truths, right? It is a YouTube brand, but I know that YouTubers are kind of regulated as low on the totem pole. But dude, I think whatever you do, as long as you're putting in love and compassion and passion, it's going to be great. Doesn't matter if you're a YouTuber or a TikToker or a homeless guy, right? If you're creating art that is inspired and is going to move and teach people, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're from. If you're black or white, if you're what your sexual preference, none of that matters. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Instagram, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If people are going to love your work, they're going to find you. And that's what's going to make you great, is the support you find from your peers. This is true. This is true. I have in messaging Lily, I have misfired a couple of when you actually go and close, there's this feature, it's not even messaging, but like as you're viewing the stories, and then there's this X at the top, and as you go and close it, before you like right before there's that moment right before you can close the X, the story disappears and it goes back to the messaging place, and right underneath that X is the video call button. So as I go to strike that X, it disappears and that video button is there, and I end up hitting that in its place. And I've called Lily a couple of times in doing that. I was like, fuck, I don't want her to think like I'm one of those creepy stalkers. Yeah. Yeah. Les Obstetra are now available to smell at Zoologist Perfumes. And that was so lovely and selfless of Victor to do, is to put them up in the showroom for anybody that comes in is able to smell them there. So thank you, Victor. That's awesome. Big respect to Victor, man. Been kind of an inspiration for a lot of people too, and creating great perfumes. I think what he has on the horizon is some very special stuff as well. I'm excited for. There are several pieces that I'm really excited for. Damn, I thought calling was normal. Guess I'm an old. Well, depends on who you're calling, and do you have a relationship with this person, and are I don't know. People are. It's confusing, Pradeep. It's something that can be talked about, no doubt. Scent of the day, a reptile. I like reptile. It's strange though. It's a very strange perfume. I like reptile, but I'm not sure I understand it the way that I would like, and I like diving into it. Abirouge EDT vintage Congratulations. Brilliant perfume. I love it. Even I know the vintage is so much better than what's out there today, but I really I enjoy I still wear the modern, Listerine silver cap bottle, and I've got several of them. I wore it recently, just a couple days ago, to be honest. All right, so the Antoine Lee live stream. So I talked to Antoine the other day, and I was like, "Yo, the people want a live stream. Like, what do you want to do? Totally whatever he wants to do." And he's like, we've kind of gone this far. Why don't we wait for the third release? That way we can talk about all three perfumes." And I was like, "All right, cool. Like, sure, we can do that." You can spoon a labradoodle. I'm not into hair too. I'm not into animal hair. Tom Brady. Frag on the Tyne. Good to see you. Yeah. Wake up. Yes, wake up. Wake up from that deep sleep. So many people are asleep. Just walking through the grocery store and, saying hello with your eyes or verbally saying hello to people, and they're like, "Huh? What? What? Where am I?" It's a little bit disheartening, to be honest. But I was very asleep for a very long time. Yes, please drop the Scorpio Rising review. Fosco says he's on the fence. What's up, Dushan? I love boozy fragrances. I do not. I don't get on with boozy fragrances. Um, Not all boozy fragrances. Like, I find Rochas Femme boozy, but I can tolerate that. I find Chanel number 18 boozy, and I love that. There's certain elements of I don't like sweet, syrupy, sugary, boozy perfumes. Uh, Eau Noir can be considered boozy. It has that sort of like uh, it has that anise. Anise is used in a lot of boozes. It has that kind of fermenting anise thing going on. Can you make a delivery to Ireland? I think Ireland is optional. Tried Bellum. Killen says, I can see Bellum being the biggest seller in the long run. Yeah, I can see it being. To be honest, you never know, man. You just don't. You don't know. But yeah, it's very possible. Ooh, DJ says, "What's a dad, man?" Sorry to hear that, bud. Sorry to hear that, man. I can't imagine what that's like for you, but what's up, Anuj? Good seeing you, man. Hope you're well. Where are you? Are you at the does somebody want to come on? Look at me. I've been so selfish and haven't put out the link yet. Let me put out the link if somebody wants to come on. Who do you guys want to see come on? 44 likes. We got 69 viewers. Guys, this is a very one-sided relationship. It's just me. For those of you that haven't liked the stream, lick the stream. Oh, somebody has ordered a bottle of I'm not sure what they've ordered, but I've got a notification. And I'm going to guess this is from the US without opening it up. Thank you to whoever you are. I appreciate that. Is it somebody here? Let us know if you're here and you ordered it. I don't want to give out the name because there's obviously privacy issues concerned. Sent a night portrait of a lady. Nice. People saying hello. Okay, let me put the link out. Who wants to come on? I will be here for I've got some time. It's 2:15. I do, Phil. I try not to I like breaking habits. I like getting myself uncomfortable. I like discovery. I like exploration. I like challenges. I don't stray from those. I think all of these things help create better versions of ourselves, is seeing the world through somebody else's eyes, and understanding people, having little to no bias, all great things to help you get outside of your box and see the world from just a different perspective. I feel this very much. I think perfumes are, perfumes are very, in my life, they played a huge role, not just smelling, but because of perfumes, I've literally learned so much about myself, in a sense that I have lost myself in perfumes. I have been able to find myself through perfumes, and through analyzing, through wearing, through observing perfumes every day and going inside of them and trying to discover what it is I'm feeling, what it is I'm wearing, what it is I'm smelling, what notes are in here, what the message is trying to create. I've taken those tools that I've been able to create for myself, and now I use those same tools to go inside the body to reflect, and I go into feelings and emotions the exact same way. So perfume has taught me about my it's kind of what has guided me to learn about myself as well. So it's a great tool. Rich Mitch, what's happening, brother? It's good to see you. It almost looks like a pineapple there on your thumbnail. How are you?
Hi, I'm Quack. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How's life treating you?
Oh, it's been a strange old week. I was thinking about fucking coming on and talking to you about. I know we've been talking this week about different things, this and that. I'm not feeling too great in myself and stuff. And so just talking to you about, like you were talking there about discovering yourself through perfume and losing yourself in perfume, and I feel like I've been doing that.
I never really want to share our personal conversations with the world because it's not my place. But if you want to talk about that, we can. If you feel like you want to go into that, we can. I'm here for you. The world is here for you. You're very much loved, and what you're feeling is probably what a lot of other people are feeling as well. So it would be helpful. It's definitely things that I've been through as well. I've faced all of these, and I can definitely see the younger version of myself I see in you. I get that reflection. You definitely hold a mirror to me in that sense. So I can relate to whatever it is you're feeling.
Yeah, no, I'm all right. I'm all right going into it. I've got no sort of. I wouldn't say I haven't got any secrets, but it's like I don't mind talking about it. I think it's quite good. I think it's quite good to get it out, and I think it's quite good to, as well, if you see other people talking about it publicly. It's good. It's good to see, especially blokes, because blokes don't talk about, like, men don't talk about like what's going on or how they feel in a negative way. Like, if something nice happens, the fucking men are worse than women for that shit. Much worse than women. If something good happens, men are out there straight away. Fucking, you can't shut them up. But if something bad happens, if they're just not feeling great,
that's a big part of our society. Everybody wants to share the best parts of themselves. Nobody wants to share the pains and the heartaches and the tribulations of how they got there, right?
Absolutely.
They only want to show the end result.
Absolutely. And what it does is it skews the perception of reality for a lot of people, because in that instant where somebody is smiling into the camera and they've got a nice background, say they're on the beach or they're on holiday, they're out on the town, they're with their friends, you don't get any sort of context around that other than pure positivity. And I'm not necessarily against positivity, although I'm not the world's most like naturally positive person. I think that's just a feature of my personality. But I think that, and I'm not against it. I'm not trying to like bring people down. What I'm saying is that
I'm losing you, buddy.
that it's not. You can hear us.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, sorry, I've put you in charge. That's why. Can you hear us properly now?
Yeah.
Okay. No, what I'm just saying is that I think that a little bit of context is like, I'm not trying to spoil anybody's fucking.
Can I just say something on that really quickly?
Yes, please.
I think it's great to be positive. I think having a positive mindset will do nothing but benefit you. I think thinking of yourself and changing the programming that you have been conditioned to live under is nothing but beneficial. Where toxic positivity comes in is giving away something or giving into something that feels wrong and not discussing it or not bringing that topic to light in order to avoid confrontation. So if you say something to me and it feels wrong, let's say it feels wrong in my body, when I go and I ignore that feeling without saying something to you in order to keep peace, that to me is toxic. That to me is accepting your belief or your judgment without bringing my own truth to the table, without bargaining. That to me is toxic positivity.
Yeah, I think there is toxic positivity in the world. I definitely think that's a thing. And I think there's a lot of it. In the same way that there can be toxic negativity as well. It's like we've been talking this week about how misery loves company.
Absolutely.
You know? And a lot of people out there, a lot of people out there in the world have this kind of personality type where they will absorb negativity, right? And they'll just sit and they won't necessarily, I don't want to put it as in standing up for themselves, but they won't express how they're really feeling. They'll repress it and suppress it, you know, and it'll make you ill if you do that. And you'll get to a point where you are so full of other people's anxieties and other people's neurosis and negativity, toxicity, but I don't mean it in like this kind of like TV kind of way, you know, like where people are like, oh, this person's toxic, they do this, that, and the other, you know, they do these.
Why do you think people do that, Rich?
Do what?
They go into they have a toxic mindset. They're negative. They tear other people down. They go into spaces that they probably have no business being in. Why do you think they do that?
I think it's reinforcement. I think it's to do with self-esteem and the lack thereof. Foundation. If you give us a second. Sorry, I got a knock on the door.
Sorry, as we wait, I'm going to say I think a lot of people are living with no intent in their lives. They have no directions, they have no goals, and they have nothing fulfilling happening. So they go into these places empty. And because there's nothing going on great in their lives, they don't want other people succeeding or seeing other people do great things. And they try to tear them down because they're just expressing whatever turmoil is they're dealing with inside of themselves.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of, I mean, Schadenfreude is definitely a thing. The enjoyment of other people's pain. And because what it does is it means that they're not alone. And I think there's a lot of loneliness. There's a lot of isolation. There's a
Yeah.
lot of boredom. Um, there's a lot more of that around than there is like general positivity.
Yeah. And I can say that. I say those words not to criticize or to judge. I can say those words from experience because I was that person. I was raised that person. I believed myself to be that person. I was angry and frustrated. And because there was nothing going on in my life, I was miserable. That's how I wanted the rest of the world to feel. I was expressing what was inside of me. And it took me a lot of work. It took me a long time to understand that and to feel that and to go in there, to go into that pain and heal it and forgive it and understand why I was acting in such a way. It was
Yeah.
hard work. It was very hard work. It was the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. And sometimes I hear people refer to me in a certain way, or they'll call me reformulated, or the P word. And I'll think, God damn, you would never survive a moment in my shoes in like what I went through to get to where I've come, because it is so painful. And I was saying to you, like, Rich, it was either heal or die. Like it was that serious. I was like, my heart was shattered in millions of pieces. Like it was on the floor. I sat there picking up every single piece, putting it back together. And it took like, tender hands and a lot of care. And it was put this back together or die, like live a life, a miserable, meaningless life that I didn't want to be part of.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, and the thing is with that, that's a lot easier to do than the opposite. It's a lot easier to do than to change how you're feeling or change how you're thinking. And it's got to come from within.
You think healing is easier than to
No,
change? No,
no.
healing is change.
What I'm saying is it's easier to fall into those negative ways and be that's what I meant that way around.
Right.
Like it's easier to be cynical and angry and alone than it is to go out there and engage and try.
Well, that's right. And the reason that it's easier to be miserable is because it's so painful to go inside of that suffering. It is extremely painful to go back into all your past trauma and to put that back together. It's not an easy process. I'm 3 years in, and I feel like I still have tremendous amounts of work to do.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I've sort of found myself in this kind of position. Like I feel like I've slipped into it. It's sort of just like happens, doesn't it? You don't do it consciously. You don't wake up one day and think to yourself, I'm going to be miserable and a bastard, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. You just sort of
It's
you might
conditioning. You had
you
no choice in the matter.
you might just wake up one day and find and realize that you're doing it rather
Yeah,
than like ever
yeah,
consciously make that decision. And whatever, and these behaviors are learned as well, you know. And if you can learn it, you can unlearn it.
Enrique.
Um,
Enrique is asking what started the transformation, and I was telling Rich this privately the other day. We were having a conversation, and I said, if to anybody that wants to heal, that's great, and I support that. However, my inspiration, like what started my I didn't have a choice in the matter. It wasn't that I wanted to heal. I had to. Like I said, it was heal or die, literally. It's my heart was dropped on the floor, and like a vase, it shattered in millions of pieces. And that's what started my transformation. I didn't have a motivation. I didn't have an inspiration. My inspiration was life. Do you want to continue living? You need to heal this. You need to put this back together or you're done. Like you're going to go down the path that many other fathers do in this position when they lose their family. You know, they start going on drugs or alcohol. They just completely lose themselves. And I didn't
Yeah.
want to go down that path. I knew there's so much beauty to life. And even in that pain, I found it like some of the most beautiful moments I've ever experienced. And I would never give that away. I wouldn't sell that experience for all the money in the world. That is what being a human being is about. That's what we're sent here to do, is to feel, experience everything, all the good, including the bad. That's our only mission here, is to live, right? To live, not to be distracted, you know, experience, go and live, fall in love, get your heart broken, you know, do whatever brings you joy.
Yeah. It's
But that was the inspiration for my transformation. I didn't have a choice in the matter. It was do or die, and I chose to do because I didn't want to die. This is too much of a great thing to give up. You know, this is a blessing. You have been chosen to be here like everybody else. And appreciate that you have been chosen and realize we all started from the exact same place. You know, we all were born with no thoughts, and society has formed us. Society has shaped us in the places that we've grown up in the experiences that we've had. So realize that your thoughts are just, they're just vibrations, and you can change those. If you feel like you're unlucky or you've been dealt a shit hand, you can change that just by changing your thoughts. It takes a lot
yeah.
of work. It depends on what you want from your life.
No, you're right. It's what for me sort of made us start thinking about this. Like I said, I've been fucking a bit fucking. I don't want to say miserable, but I've been a bit fucking down in the past few weeks. Like a few people I know have like mentioned it and like noticed it and stuff, saying like I'm agitated and I just started thinking about it because I think that when a lot of people that you know start saying this, like a lot of people that you know that don't know each other start saying the same thing about you, then there must be like something to it, you know.
Okay.
Um,
Has
so I
somebody
was,
said something to you?
yeah, there's been a few people said stuff to us like, "Oh, you're not like in the best of fettles at the minute. You're not in like a great mood, are you, or anything like that? Um, or you're not in a good place." Like, and I just, to be honest, I hadn't thought about it, and then when I started thinking about it, some of the things that you've been saying over the last few years have started like making sense. You know, stuff about like distraction and stuff. Like, started noticing that I'm doing a lot of the stuff that you said like you did, like as far as distraction. And like I said to you earlier on, that I never do, I never like do or achieve anything, but I'm always doing something. You know,
Without
like,
doing anything.
yeah, exactly. Without doing anything. I mean, there's a lot of like stuff going on, but to be honest with you, I don't want to like make excuses for it. You know what I mean? It's true. It is what it is. I noticed it in myself after I thought of it like that. Um, I mean, there are other issues that I've got that you don't, and there's like things that you've got. There's like issues you've got that I don't. You know?
Yeah, we all have our own thing, man. We all have our cross to carry. We all have our burden.
Yes. And you were like, you've got like children and stuff like that. You had your marriage and everything. And I've got like, obviously I'm not like very well, but at the same time, the 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 illness, the illness that I've got isn't like a mental illness. It's like, I'm feeling that way because of
You're
different reasons.
you're conditioned to feel that way, Rich. This is what society as a whole has done to us, to you, to me. You're conditioned to believe these things, and you know, the programming that we're bombarded with is done so in a way to keep us dysregulated. And as long as you're dysregulated, you're never going to find the truth to Rich Mitch.
Yes.
Because the truth lays in the body. The body, dude, the body, the human being is the greatest invention ever created. We are the apex predator of this world that we live in, and we are harnessed with so much information and technology, but we are distracted from those. And I think for good reason, you know, because if we were all awake and aware of what we're capable of, we would be doing the things that we love instead of the things that are required from us.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like being a battery hen.
You need to heal the body. I don't know what, you know, everybody carries their own pains. You need to go into those pains. You need to heal that. And then you start seeing the truth, because the body, the truth lies in the body. There's a truth in the body that does not lie, and it tells you what feels right and what feels wrong. And you can only reach that truth once you're healed. There's an energy that you carry, that everybody carries, and it's an energy of the same language. It feels good or it doesn't. But to reach that, you need to be healed. You need to heal your heart. You need to heal your the pain that you're reminded of every single day that you're distracting from. So what you're distracting from is the truth to your body, because the pain, you don't want to look at the pain.
Yeah. What do you think the difference between the mind, like the pain in the body and the pain of the mind is?
The pain in the mind is, it's fear. It comes from fear. It comes from all your traumas combined.
Okay. So
I think
what's the difference?
The mind, so the body creates the feeling, and what the body is feeling. If the body is feeling, if the body is feeling in a certain way, that creates the thoughts of the mind. So it's the energy of the body that creates the feelings of the mind. If you feel like shit, you're going to have crappy thoughts. You're going to have negative thoughts.
Okay. So if the body's feeling shitty, and mine often does, like,
right.
is that purely linked to thought, or is there nothing you can do about it? Is there something you can do about the way your body feels, and what would you...
You can understand the feelings of the body, but you need to go into those feelings. You need to be alone and understand them and call them up. You don't need to call them up. They're going to come up by themselves. And when they do come up is the moment you're going to say, oh, I feel like shit. I think I need to. And because I feel like shit, I want to get away from this feeling. And right away, you're subconsciously going to be reminded that you all of a sudden need to go check an email that you're expecting, or you need to go stir the dinner that's sitting on the stove, or something is going to come up to pull you away from that pain because it feels so damn hard.
Yeah.
And that's the moment you get that feeling you need to be distracted is the moment you need to remain silent and go into that feeling and understand it and realize what triggered this feeling. Where have I felt this before? And then you make space for it and you forgive it and you tell it, it's okay. I'm here, you know?
Yeah, I've found myself noticing that's one of the things that I noticed was the whole distraction thing. Obviously, like, I've been trying, well, I figured out that that's what I've been doing this week. You know, like when you know something, but you don't necessarily realize it, you don't internalize it. That's sort of like what happened to me this week. I sort of internalized it a bit. I was like, I'm always doing something to stop or take away from the way I'm feeling. And it's to, well, like you say, it's to distract. There's another word, but I can't think of it now, that I was thinking about using, but it's like to lessen, like
To numb out.
Yeah.
It's to numb out the pain.
Yeah. To like make yourself feel like, well, to make yourself feel less,
or to feel better from whatever is coming up for you, that trauma, that pain, that suffering. Yeah. Listen, we all have an intuition inside of us. Sometimes we lose that intuition because the anxiety we're feeling overwhelms that sense of intuition or energy. And you start to begin to believe that you are that anxiety. You know, some of us are so anxious that all you feel is this energy of anxiety. And you're like, that's me. I am that anxiety. And because of that anxiety, you're so deeply stuck in the past, or you're in the future. You're separated from your intuition, and your intuition is the truth. It's what guides you. Your intuition will never steer you wrong. It is who you're supposed to be. It is what you're supposed to connect with. And once you're connected with it, you see the world in a completely different place. You know, you see beauty everywhere.
Yeah. It's yeah, it's just this like last couple of weeks have just been weird, you know? Like
Something happening? Did something happen specifically, or
not that I could pinpoint or anything like that, you know what I mean? There's been no sort of like major deep sort of like trauma or sort of like anxiety come up or
how
anything
about with
like
the
that.
holidays approaching? Does that ring a
It
bell?
could be as well. It could be that. The whole shit going off at the minute about fucking the holidays and then the dark nights as well, stuff like that. It's a very dark time of year. So it could have something to do with that, but I don't know. I don't know if this is just part of my natural cycle because I've felt like this before. Many times, you know, you go through periods of like of feeling better, and you go through periods of feeling worse. And I don't know if that's just like a natural normal thing,
Yeah.
or if this time it's like this is the time that you sort of like you break the cycle, or you try to break the cycle, or you like make inroads into it, you know what I mean? And it's not like anything major, you know. For you it was like there was a major traumatic event, whereas for me I feel like
It was
that sort of like that's kind of like maybe shit that happened in the past, or it's like, oh, I want to put it, for me, that I don't have that kind of urgency. Do you know what I mean? Like for you, you had that traumatic experience, which like you were like, well, fuck this, I can't be like living like this anymore. I don't want to live like this. For me, it's like I don't want to say that I'm used to it, but that like I've grown like accustomed to it, you know. This is
Yeah,
kind
you
of like,
believe that's who you are.
yeah, exactly.
That's
That's
your
like, this is just how
identity.
I am. Yeah.
That's your entity.
Yeah, there are we were talking about people before who are like sinks and drains and stuff, and how that you can fall into the position of thinking that this is your lot, this is just how you react to things. And for a lot of people, that is how they react towards things. But the one thing you can do, you can't necessarily control everything that happens to you, but you can control your reaction to it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. And
And
that's
that is something that I want to do and do better. I want to not necessarily be reaching for a new perfume or reaching to like play a game or like being driven into these like repetitive behaviors every time something happens where I feel as though like I need to do X, Y, and Z to feel better, you know?
Right, right. So what you're saying is when you get into these feelings, you don't want to have to do a perfume haul to get you out of that.
Yes. It's not just perfume as well. I have made, I mean, if you've been following along, and some people have and some people haven't, like I don't buy like I used to, the old hauls and stuff like that. But at the same time, I haven't necessarily got to the place where I want to be with it. Does that make sense? Like I want like to, well, like this week, I kind of feel as though it's not like that sort of change in behavior isn't as ingrained, isn't hasn't like taken hold as much as I would have liked it to, you know? Like I still haven't conquered that sort of particular aspect. And the thing is as well that say if I do and I stop buying perfumes, I only buy perfumes when there's something that I really desperately want. Then I don't mind buying perfumes at that point. But
right,
you're sort of at that place now. You're sort of at that place where you don't necessarily. It's not your go-to. It's not the first thing you reach to when like something doesn't go right. And I've sort of taken. I've sort of like I've taken that initial aspect away. You know, that's not my first go-to sort of thing now. But I don't want to replace it with anything else. You know, because
yeah,
perfume replaced something else. In like before perfume, there were other things that I used to do. You
yeah.
know.
You're just replacing a behavior for another behavior or a
Mm-hmm.
reaction for another reaction.
Yes. Excuse me whilst I hydrate, but yes,
So
I.
I think it's great that you've come to that realization that you're aware of it, and now you can take action and you can respond in the way that would make you feel best. I know, like we were talking the other day, and you said something like, "You don't want to have to buy a perfume to make you feel better." And my response to that is, Rich, I'm in a place now where when I feel healed, I feel grateful and I feel blessed, and my heart is full. Like my heart is in the place where it's constantly full. And the moment I judge somebody, that love is just drained right out of my heart, you know. And I say this with all sincerity. And I said to Rich, the way I feel right now, you know that feeling you get after you buy a perfume? That's how I feel right now all the time.
Yes.
That's what it feels like all the time for me.
Yeah.
So when I buy something, it's more than just buying something to make myself feel better, right? It doesn't come from that place.
Yeah. It. Uh, it's. It's very strange when you come to that sort of realization because you realize how much energy it takes to do to just stand still, you know, like you were saying like before how buying a perfume like it makes you feel, but the thing is that at the minute like I bought like I won't tell people what I've bought because I'm going to do an unboxing video. I've bought a couple of fucking great perfumes this week, and one of them in particular is like a proper unicorn sort of like frag comp, like the type of thing that would improve my collection, which is what I said in that Derby video. That's like the perfumes that I'm going to buy now are like perfumes that improve the collection. I haven't necessarily stuck as hard to that as I would have liked, but in the main, I haven't taken like a step in that direction. But at the same time, I bought these perfumes, and I just didn't get that. I wouldn't say I didn't feel anything, but I didn't get that kind of that buzz, that kind of like interest that
The
I didn't get.
fulfillment.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I didn't get the distraction, to be honest with you. Like, I didn't get that at all.
It almost sounds like a drug addict that is chasing that very first high,
That's
right?
exactly what it is.
The more you take part, the less effect it has on you. But
Yes.
you haven't found something else to replace that fullness. That fullness, I guarantee you this, Rich, and everybody, that fullness can only be found inside.
Yeah.
It can only come from one place, or you'll forever be seeking a partner, a person to fill that. Like, this is what I mean by distraction. Drugs, sex, alcohol, and there's nothing wrong with any of these things. But if you're constantly relying on these, if you're dependent on these, they're never going to fill you the way that you want them to, and that can only come from inside with the
Yes.
realization of healing. Heal those pains. Watch your judgments are the first thing that take you away from healing. The moment you judge, that judgment is coming from inside of you. It's a reflection of what you are feeling. Something about what somebody else is doing, which has no impact on your life, is making you uncomfortable. And nobody does shit to hurt themselves. Everybody does things that feels right to them. And as you're watching it, you're like, it's so uncomfortable and it doesn't feel right to you because maybe you don't understand it. You go and judge that, and that judgment takes you away from yourself. And that's why you see on media, they bring up all these controversial topics. They want people to be opinionated. They want people to they want judgments, and that takes you away from yourself. That keeps you in this deep sleep. That keeps you living in fear. It keeps you spending money. It keeps you searching for pleasure outside of yourself.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's like you're
Stuck.
trying to manipulate the world around you to make you feel better.
To
These like
take you away from yourself.
yeah.
To take you away from yourself. That's what they're doing. And to do so, it's a completely different topic. I won't cut that, but yeah, it's just to take you away from yourself. It gets much deeper than that, but
No, you can go into it if you want. But do it in a second because I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
all right.
Give us,
All right.
give us,
I'll
give us
read
two
some of the
minutes.
comments out. But yeah, great topic. I love this. And this is kind of what I want to incorporate with my perfumes, is to teach this stuff and help other people become better. I mean, I can't help anybody become better. I can share just my experiences and my knowledge. Anyone that wants to become better has to want to do it for themselves. They're the only ones that can do it for themselves. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can come and, I mean, I can come and try and pull you out of bed and say, hey, let's go to the gym, let's go meditate. But you got to want to do it for yourself. And sometimes it takes darkness entering your life to wake you up from that and say, all right, now is the time. Rock bottom is a gift. A lot of times we try and save people from hitting that rock bottom, but the best thing you can do, because they're never going to pull themselves out of bed. If you're constantly there pulling them out of bed, they're never going to learn. The best thing, if you love somebody, let them hit rock bottom. Hopefully they don't hurt themselves or somebody else too much. And the moment they hit rock bottom is the wake-up call. That's their wake-up call, and it's a realization. You can't change anybody. If you have an alcoholic or a drug abusing partner, you can't change them unless they want to change. There's nothing you can do. but also know that they're struggling with deep pain, deep anxiety, deep fear, the fear of going into that pain, the fear of realizing who they truly are. Love you, Caboose. There you go. Happy. You don't see successful people. You don't see happy people. You don't see people that have things going on in their life come into this chat and trash other people. They don't. You don't see it anywhere. Where have you seen a successful person? Somebody that's happy, somebody that's full. They support and they lift other people. I don't think there are happy people and sad people. We're humans. Of course we have to experience emotions. That's part of the human life, but I mean, when you get down, don't stray from that feeling. Go into it, figure it out, learn. What is your body trying to tell you? Your body's a messenger. It's sending you millions of messages every day, but you're so lost in what the fuck happened on the Kardashians and criticizing them for their butt lifts, and that you're forgetting about, this feeling that's going inside of you. Why are the Kardashians more important than that deep feeling of stress that's going inside of you, right? Forget about the Kardashians, man. Figure out your own stuff. Figure out your own stuff. And that's the beauty of life. Enjoy your own life. Take control of your own life. Do things that fulfill you, that make you happy. Take whatever it is that's, that pain that you're dealing with, and create art from it. Write a fucking poem. Paint. Pick up some painting supplies and just start painting. Whatever comes to your mind. You don't have to know what you're going to paint. Just start painting. How long did it take you to get to this point? 3 years. 3 years. October 1st, 2019 was 3 years for me that I started. I mean, it's there's not an exact date, but that's the date I had moved in to an apartment on my own and started. And it was very painful. I'll admit it was so fucking painful. It was hard. I spent a lot of time alone. I spent a lot of time crying, like just crying, but even crying feels good. Nobody ever feels worse after a cry. And to cry is to be a human being. That's part of being a human being. Right? And yeah, I remember just being alone, like on my sofa, just turning everything off, turning the lights off, either staring out the window, kind of just being alone with myself on my own in that moment, trying not to think about the past, the things that have hurt me, or thinking too much in the future, what is waiting for me, just enjoying that moment. And as you do that, these feelings start to come up, and they're heavy, they're intense. The more trauma that you've experienced, the more intense that these are. And you just kind of sift through them, and you analyze them, and you observe them. I'm feeling it now, kind of like these feelings and this energy. And you forgive them, and you say, like, this isn't my fault that these things happen to me, right? I can deal with this, and they'll make you stronger. These things will make you stronger. We should all strive to be better on a completely different topic. Where are we going? Yes. Yes. See, that's the part of being human. Life is the best teacher, man. Life. And we also use, I don't mean use, but other people are mirrors for us. And sometimes they'll support us, sometimes they'll criticize us, but you take that criticism as a teacher. But you can take it as a teacher, or you can ignore it. It's up to you. If you feel that there is a lesson to be learned in that criticism, you can use it, or you can just let it go. It's terrifying. It's terrifying, Enrique, because they don't know what they're going to find, or they don't know what they're going to find. Yeah, I go into my meditations all the time, and I'm still remembering things that I have gone through, things that I've completely forgotten at a young age, and it's just it's a wild ride, man. It's better than any video game you can play. It's better than anything that you can find outside of yourself. What's up, Rich? You good?
Yes, I had to dehydrate and then actually go downstairs, converse with Mother Duck, and rehydrate my massive bottle of water. It ran out, so I didn't fall down the toilet. I didn't fall asleep. I survived. So I am still here. Oh, awesome. God. But yes, I had noticed a few things that I'd been doing and saying, and then recognized them in other people and thought, well, if they're doing it and I would say something to them, you know, why shouldn't you like apply that sort of logic to yourself? I think it's very easy to go out and see things in other people, and it's much harder to see those same things in yourself, you know, because you only ever see the peak. Like, I want to see the peaks. You only ever see the moments of contact that you have with other people. You're with yourself 24/7, you know, and you know what's built up to a moment that, like, I don't know, you know what the context is within yourself for something happening, for the way that you've done something, the way that you've reacted to something. But when you see it in other people, it's much easier to analyze, because it's at a distance. It's an isolated incident and stuff, you know. And you feel sort of justified in your own actions when.
Why do you think it's easier to observe others and judge them for their actions than it is to look at our own self?
I think it's easier to look at other people because you aren't as invested in other people as you are in yourself. Oh, maybe that's the wrong way of putting it, because you can be more invested in other people than yourself. You aren't invested in the same way. You aren't invested in the same way in other people as you are in yourself. It's a different point of view, you know. Lighthouses don't light themselves up. Lighthouses light up the water around them and the space around them, right? But they can't point that light at themselves. And I think it's quite a decent analogy, that, and that it's very hard.
Yeah. That's the same as saying, like, you'll never see your own face the way others do. Like, you've seen your face in the picture, you've seen your face in the mirror, but you've never stood outside of yourself and been able to see your own face. You've never seen the back of your own head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's almost like a snake trying to swallow its own head, or the sun seeing itself.
Yeah. Yeah. The sun that, like,
I find that we are quick to judge others, and it's easier for us to judge others because we judge ourselves.
Say that again?
I think the people that most judge others are the ones that judge themselves the most as well. They're just critical in nature. Their nature is to criticize.
I think there can be an element of that. Yeah, I think there's also an element of lack of realization. I think it's one extreme or the other. A lot of people who are self-critical will criticize other people. I think a lot of people who try to put out this kind of effect of that everything's perfect for them as well, also have a blind spot for themselves. You know, like a lot of people lack like self inquisition, like people that just don't have that sort of, not just awareness. No, it's they don't have the motivation to be self-aware. They don't want to. You know, a lot of people just don't want to look at themselves or think about themselves. They're much more interested in other people, and that would be like their distraction from themselves. Do you know what I mean? You could.
So it's a fear of being themselves or being alone with themselves is why they're critical of others.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of people. I'm thinking about, like, you know, busybodies, people like curtain twitchers, people who go around and they're always gossiping about other people. They're always thinking about other people. They're always talking about other people. And then if you try and sort of like, they don't want to talk about themselves. They don't want anyone to talk. They think that nobody talks about them. You know, I would say that's possibly a lack of self-esteem as well.
Yeah. A lot of people feel like the world revolves around them, and I can see why, right?
Yeah, because you've only got like one pair of eyes. Everybody's world exists in their mind.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. You know, I do this weird practice. I don't know if anyone else does it, but as I go throughout my day, I try to observe the world as if I don't exist in it and imagine it from different perceptions. So how would this world be if I'm not here? If I'm here or I'm not? And I try to make it the same. Like as I live, I try to live this life just as if I'm not here, without a judgment or like putting any sort of fear or negative energy in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you see, like right now I'm looking and everything I see is kind of inside of my head, you know? And I don't know sometimes, like, how do I know if this is real? You know, everything is inside of my mind. It's almost like, am I creating this? Or what if I close my eyes and open it? Is it going to be the same? And why is it the same? You know, why is it the same?
Yeah. You're getting into existentialism there and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's very, because
but again, like, what would this place be like if I wasn't here to observe it, you know?
Somebody else would observe it.
Well,
Something
somebody else.
But you don't know if you are a brick in the wall might completely fall down without you, you know, or it might not notice that you've gone. It's a funny. I mean, this is philosophical now. It's a strange prospect, you know, the whole thing of like, if a tree fell down and no one was around to hear it, would it make a sound?
Right.
You know. Well, the thing is, right, is that you don't need a person to hear the sound to make a sound. So it's a moot point. It's a moot point in a way, because as the tree fell, it would move, it would like land, and when it landed, it would make the air around it compress and expand and stuff like that. So it's not, you don't necessarily need a person to experience something for that something to happen. You know, you don't need a consciousness. What you need to do is you need to reconcile your own consciousness You know, you need to figure out your place. There's a line in Shakespeare from Richard the Second, where he's in prison, and he says, "Nor I nor any man, but man is with nothing shall be pleased till he be eased with being nothing." And it's like, you will never be happy with anything until you realize that you are
nothing.
Exactly.
That's right.
And it's a very deep point to that. And once you have realized that, then you will be a lot happier, because you can let go of that. You can let go of that whole having to live up to being something other than what you are. You know, you are as you are growing up, as you are forming your identity. You know, you are told that you can be anything you want to be, and that's not strictly true. You know, you can't be. You know,
You can be a lot of things, I think, with it, but obviously there's going to be limitations, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There are plateaus that you are able to reach.
Yeah, it's like this learning. I think what I don't want to say that we're having fucking midlife crises here, because I think that kind of that like belittles what it is. I think you're on like a journey of self-exploration.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I think everybody goes through this, and everybody reacts in different ways. I mean, until we buy a fucking motorcycle and a leather jacket, right? It's not necessarily a fucking midlife crisis. What it is it's getting to the point in life where you probably know more. You probably come to the point where you realize how much you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And how much you start realizing, again, that line from Shakespeare, that you aren't the entire world, and that you never were, and you were never going to occupy the entire world, and to some other people, you are nothing. You know, there are 2.5 billion people in China, and if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, while sad, and I'm sure if you would ask any of those Chinese people and tell them, well, Rich Mitch got hit by a bus and killed yesterday, they'd be like, oh, that's sad. Who the fuck is that? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, and all of those people, right? That is a very large number of people, right? And all of those people have lives and minds and thoughts and feelings and beliefs and their world, right? That they don't get. They're as important as you are, right?
Right.
And if you realize that they are extremely important, and as human life is very important, and human experience is very important, but you have to recognize your place. And it's a very fucking it sounds quite how can I put it? It sounds quite, like putting down. It sounds quite like you're trying to minimize people, but like nobody really is. Some people will have more effect than others in the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're more important than anyone else.
Right. They have a bigger reach. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can have someone who's been a president or a prime minister, or you could have a celebrity. The thing with celebrity is that they are having an outsized effect for what they are. Like there's a disconnect between the reality of what they are and the reality of what they present. And I think that's true of a lot of people in our sort of like age. That people assume that other people are these huge entities that are full, and they are round, and they are sort of like, they are more than you.
That's right.
But it's not true. But that's not the case.
Yeah. But what with a celebrity, with the fame that comes with a celebrity comes with great cost as well, because whatever it is that you're going through life in this very small microscope, their lives are much more amplified, so they have, I believe, much more to deal with. Their plate of pressure is much larger than, let's say, yours and mine. And
So before you go any further with that, is that necessarily true? Do they
it's not
feel?
necessarily true.
Yeah, it's. Do they feel the same anxiety? Do they experience the same pressure? For me, right? For me, here's one for you, right? Say if I had to walk up 5 flights of stairs, right? And if I didn't, right, then I was going to get burned in a fire, right? So I had to get up these 5 flights of stairs, right? Now, for this celebrity, right, and it works both ways as well, right? I could feel no pressure in that situation. I could just, I mean, fucking, there's nothing like getting burned in a fire to get you up 5 flights of stairs, whether you've got a bad back or not. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna pull yourself up them stairs, if you can. But say if they've got to walk out onto a stage in front of 25,000 people who have all paid to see them. Like these are different kinds of pressures. Do they feel that pressure in the same way that I feel that pressure? Could I do what they have to do? Could they do what I have to do? It's like the saying goes, until you've walked a mile in someone else's shoes, you can't really say, There are some people, well, you look at Adele, Adele, the singer, right?
Yeah.
She gets absolutely incredible stage fright before she goes on. Like there's tears, there's fucking panic attacks, there's vomiting, there's fucking all sorts. Apparently, like, and she said this herself. She hates going on tour, right? She on stage is bad enough. On tour is like it's almost impossible for her. She really hates it, and it's like yes, Adele, but like, have you ever had to like spend fucking the best part of 10 years in bed because your fucking back's fucked? You know what I mean? But at the same time, could I do what she does? Would she find it easier to do? Would she find her life easier than mine? Or do I find her life easier than mine?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mike Tyson once said something similar about people that thought they could fight or sparring partners. And he's like, yeah, anybody can come in here and spar, but what happens when you get to the ring? What happens when you're walking up to the ring and you got millions of fans watching you at home on TV, and then you got people in front of you, they're throwing popcorn at you and they're throwing their beer on you, and you have all this pressure of thousands of people screaming. Are you still going to have the same fight? How will that affect you?
Yeah, it is literally, it is in the, well, I mean, it's in the eye of the beholder. It's you that's experiencing it. It comes down to this whole how this is a thing as well about getting older. You can either accept responsibility for yourself and who you are, right? Or you can try and blame other fucking people and outside external forces. And
absolutely,
I do accept this thing where people say I've said this earlier, that you can not choose the things that happen to you. Like life will happen, right?
yeah, unavoidable.
Unavoidable. Like shit will happen, and it just will, because shit happens, and you can't control that. But what you can control is your reaction to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And how you go about how you feel and how you behave and how you think. I don't know if you've ever listened to or if you've ever heard of David Foster Wallace. I will send you a link to his "This Is Water" speech. It was a commencement speech at an American university. It's one of my favorite things. It's like 20 minutes long, and I highly recommend everybody listens to it, because he says it's about the course that they've done I think it's the liberal arts or the liberal. It's like a philosophy sort of course that they've all done. And he's like, there's these two young fish, and they're swimming up the stream when they encounter an older fish swimming the other way, and the older fish looks at them, nods, and says, "Hello, boys. How are you doing? How's the water this morning?" And then the older fish swims off the other way, and they keep going up the river. And then one of the younger fish, turns to the other one and says, "Hang on a minute, what the hell is water?" Right?
Right.
And it's that is life. You know what I mean? It's like this. It's a story that like explains like a larger sort of thing, but it's like it's the things that are around you all the time that are life, the real life. You know, it's your immediate experience of everything around you.
But it's also wise of that first fish to realize that just because that first fish is in the exact same water as all the other fish, to ask the other fish, how's the water? Because he realizes, or she, that the water is going to be different for every single fish.
Yeah, how's the water? How's life this morning? You know, how is the air this morning? How is it's literally the
It's
older
the same
fish.
for all of us. The
Yeah,
air
the
is the
older
same.
fish. Yeah, exactly. The older fish has
The
more
realization.
experience, more life in them, and they realize that life is everything around you. You know, and life is like you are. Yeah, he's just lived. As Antonio says, he's just lived, and these two younger fish have no idea, and they're just going around. They're just like going about their business, happy days and everything. It's one of the great speeches. I'm telling you, it's an absolutely fantastic speech. David Foster Wallace, I'll put it in the chat.
Somebody was talking about a Jimmy V earlier, saying you got. I don't. Who's Jimmy V or Jimmy T or something along that line? There's a couple of people talking about Jimmy V. Who's that?
I've got no idea.
Remind us. Yeah, but that's kind of the process of, you experience something and then you share your experiences with the rest of the world, and that's how people learn. We all learn from each other, just like those fish.
Yeah,
that's the great thing is we get to share and we can help other people, and we've been helped too, right? We've been helped the whole way growing up. Your parents try to do the best or whatever they think is the best. Sometimes it's not the best, but they're doing the best that they're capable of. But sometimes they're broken as well,
I think, yeah, there's a
that gets passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah, there's a huge part of as you're getting older, realizing that you're like forgiving your parents. For you just like you have to forgive your parents because it's like the poem says, Philip Larkin, isn't it? The first line in the poem, "The fuck you up, your parents."
They can, absolutely.
They do. All parents fuck up their children. It's just that some people are fucked in different ways. Some kids are fucked up in other ways.
Cancel parents?
Well, I mean, fucking. The problem is that you can't live with them. You can't live without them.
Yeah.
Try being fucking. Try not having parents from the day you're born. You will not last. Literally.
Well, the moment you're born, you're screaming for them.
Exactly.
You're screaming to be loved. And what do parents do? That screaming becomes so annoying, they start to push us away. That screaming brings up their own pain. It brings up their own anxieties and sufferings and moments of unhappiness. And we end up being pushed away.
Yeah.
And not seen. And we don't get that, our needs met.
Yeah, you have to, as you get older, you have to forgive your parents. And if you can't do that, that will cause you great angst. And then once you've done that, once you've started forgiving other people, it's one of the things to forgive yourself for some of the things you've done.
Yeah.
I mean, a huge part of depression and anxiety is, and it's been proven, is a lot of depression is to do with guilt and
Shame,
guilt. But
fear,
yeah,
and that's all
shame and
projected
guilt.
onto you from other people, parents, relationships, friends, co-workers.
It can be projected on. It can be projected on, but there are brain scans in humans that show the guilt and shame parts. The parts of the brain that deal with guilt and shame are also some of the most active parts of the brain in people with depression. And people with depression have different brain scans to people who don't. And a lot of people with depression, a lot of the parts of their brain are not functioning properly. And it's the parts of the brain that aren't functioning properly. The parts of the brain that do function properly are the parts that control stuff like guilt and shame, and parts of the parts of the brain that aren't functioning properly are parts that control pleasure and not just pleasure and reward and things like that. So it's not necessarily that you're feeling extra shame and guilt. It's that it's not balanced. You know,
Right.
there's an unbalance. There's a lack of balance. It's that these parts of the brain that deal with guilt and shame and pain and memory and things like that, they're all switched on. They're all working properly, and it's the other parts of the brain that aren't working properly. And that's why guilt and shame are huge drivers in things like depression and other like mental health problems as well.
Well,
Like a lot in
on the
addiction.
on the flip side of that, the brain, you can rehabilitate the brain in the same way
Absolutely.
you felt into that depression. You can come out,
Yep.
but
It's a software. It's a
you gotta do the
software
work. You
problem.
gotta want to do the work for yourself.
Yes,
That's
it's a
something that nobody can do for you. It can't be done for you.
no,
Not even medication. Like medication will kind of help you along the way, but medication will never. Medication is a mask, first of all. It will never heal you. Medication isn't meant to heal. It's not the job of the medication to heal. It's the
no.
mask. It's to make that. It's temporary relief.
Yeah, it's like painkillers.
That's all
It's
it
like
is.
painkillers. Yeah, it's like painkillers.
Medication, right? Medication is it does the exact same thing as buying a perfume or getting a hooker, right? It's a temporary relief.
It is. It's like painkillers for pain.
That's right.
Strangely enough, it's
Your distraction is medication to the pain that you're dealing with.
so it's to break the pain cycle so that you can get the help and lasting help that you need as far as rehabilitation's concerned. So if you think of it like a physical injury, right? So say you break your leg and you've got to go to physio. You can't do the physio because the fucking broken leg hurts too much.
Right.
So what they do is they give you the painkiller so that you can do the physio, which will heal your leg. Then you stop taking the painkillers, right? And that's how it should work. Some people have chemical imbalances in the brain that need addressing. But when it comes to stuff like low mood and non 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 like non like traumatic brain injury, depression and stuff, then you can undo that damage with like talking therapy or with other kinds of like fucking intervention, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But there are things, when you're getting into low mood, when you're not feeling good, there are things that you can do. And I would recommend separating from social media, get out of drama, stay away from drama, stay away from arguments, turn off the news, right? All those things that are dysregulating you, get outside, get some fresh air. If there's some sunlight, try to bask in the sunlight. Um, you can even get sunlight sitting in the shade. Go out into nature, take your shoes off, put your feet into the mud, put your feet into the river. Nature is a very energizing. It's very nurturing. There is a great sense of healing in nature, right?
Yeah.
There's things that you can do. Watch your diet, watch what you're eating, watch the processed foods, watch the drinks, the soda pops, the chemicals, you know, the just I think food is a large part. Try to improve your diet. But there's things you can combat. Start meditating, start reading, right? Start doing things that fill your soul. Find what makes you happy. Maybe you're not doing the things that bring you joy, right? Being online, just like being immersed online all day, it can't be healthy. It's not good for the mind or the body, right? Like if you're watching political things that are constantly dysregulating you, they're taking you away from where you want to go. Like you want to go you want to go this way, you want to go inside here, not outside, right? Go inside. Stop
Yeah.
this. Well, you'll feel that in the body when you start getting nervous, when you see yourself start getting like anxious and excited, and your voice raises and your blood pressure starts screaming. You know, you're getting away from yourself. Those are the and if you're doing that all day long, you're going to be numbed out. You're going to be feeling like that, like you're going to have low mood. Get away from that stuff. It's not helping you.
Yeah. Like
But yeah,
just distancing yourself from the shit that makes you feel worse, that feeds into it, that continues the cycle.
be
Um,
around people that support you, be around people that uplift you, be around people that are positive. That's a great, like, be very mindful of the people that you spend time with. Be very mindful of what programming you allow in your mind. If you're being bombarded with negativity all day, that's probably one of the reasons you feel like shit. Not probably, it is the reason you feel like shit. If you're constantly, like, if you're watching the news and it's constantly, oh man, bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news, guess what? That's why you feel bad. That's why you feel dysregulated. That's why you need to go get a fucking soda pop.
yeah. I'm just feeling like shit.
Just feeling like shit. Feeling like shit sells, man.
Yes.
It sells a lot of product. And then
Yeah,
you
I
start getting
agree.
into debt. And then the
Makes you feel like
accumulation
shit.
of debt causes anxiety. Then you want to feel good from that.
Yeah.
And this is very true. JD makes an excellent point. Strangely, depression and anxiety have facilitated the creation of many great artistic expressions, some of the best.
I don't know that they facilitated them. I would say that they have been created in spite of anxiety and depression rather than because of.
Well, I think
Um,
the two have something to do. Strangely, depression and anxiety. I think they have inspired, let's say they have inspired artistic expression.
there's a very good oh, what was it? Was it a there was a psychologist did a study of some of the, like the tortured artist kind of thing, like it's become like an almost mythical kind of, it's ever since like Van Gogh and stuff like that. Before Van Gogh, there weren't necessarily like the myth of the tortured artist, like wasn't necessarily a thing.
Right.
It was more that people like that who created great art could get away with more because of what they were offering, you know? Um, and then it sort of morphed into this whole like fucking, oh, the artist's got like problems, the artist's like tortured and stuff like that. But if you actually look at the rate of the incidence, I think they called it, of people with like depression and schizophrenia is quite a little bit different though. But if you look at like the rates of people in art, it's exactly the same as it is in the normal, like the rest of the population. You know, it's like there's no higher incidence of depression and anxiety and like mental health like problems in the artistic scene than there is outside of it. I don't want to say it's like completely a myth because it has happened before, but it's not. It's not so, like a lot of the artists who create the art and feel like that did it in spite of the fact that they were unwell rather than because of it.
Yeah. Just sort of expressing whatever it is that they've dealt through in their lives. You see it in a lot of music, a lot of angry music.
Experience, yeah, those experience, like the experience of feeling like that can, I think that's what you were saying, is like it can inspire that kind of like expression, you know, and it gives them like a subject matter to talk about.
Right. Right.
Which is a fucking good thing, because there's a lot of artistic people who are brilliant at art or whatever their art is, but they haven't had the experience, the life experiences that are conducive to creating art in other people. You know, and there's a lot of, I would say, a lot of successful people with a lot of money who are into art and buy that sort of thing. A lot of them have traits because of the system, like we've been talking about, because of the system that we live in at the minute that rewards people with those problems. You know, they have a lot of the money now, so they're the ones who buy the art, and they buy art that speaks to them, and the art that they buy is the art of fucking like misery, essentially.
Right. Right. And do you think the art that they're putting out inspires other people to recreate those feelings?
I think a lot of people are drawn like moths. Like a lot of people look at look at the state of the world around them.
Let's and this could be tricky. I don't want to start anything, but let's take a look at what's happening in rap culture. You have rappers singing about banging other rappers bitches or shooting other people. Like it comes up all the time. And
Yeah.
then these companies that you say with lots of money, they buy these songs, they buy this art, and they put it out into the world. Do you think that inspires people that like that genre of music to do what is being sung in those songs?
So it's kind of the reverse of the older fish saying to the two younger fish, "How's the water?" What that is the older fish coming to the two younger boys and saying, "This is this is the water. This is the culture. This is it is." He isn't asking, like they're not. He's not saying to the two young lads, "Oh, how's life around you? How are you experiencing things? This is how you experience." That's what's happening there. It's a cycle. It's a cycle, and it's like, think of it like a tornado, and you get sucked up into it, you know. And it's not just like rap culture is a good analogy, but it is but one analogy. This happens.
There's many, yeah. There's
There are many different aspects of life. You look at corporate culture, right? Look at corporate culture. It is corporate culture, and it is sort of like a legal requirement for businesses with shareholders to increase their profits, right? It's a legal requirement that they have to try and increase their profits. And what happens is you get to a point where the only way you can increase the profits is to do legal, but not necessarily moral things to increase your profits, such as firing and then rehiring some of the workers on worse fucking contracts. Right, that'll increase your now. That's corporate culture, right? And that is exactly the same as the rappers talking about guns and fucking like shagging their mates' fucking wives and fucking like selling drugs and all of that sort of thing. It's like, this is the culture. This is how you should behave. You should be like imposing yourself. You should be being, yeah, exactly. This is how you succeed. This is how you get to be like me. Do you want money? Do you want women? Do you want fucking notoriety? Do you want all of this stuff? This is how I did it. This is how you should do it. This is how it has to be done.
How corporate America keeps people living in fear.
I think that corporate America. Well, I mean corporate.
World.
Let's not just say it's
world
not
now.
Yeah, the corporate world.
China
It's not just. Well, the thing is that you could say China. The Chinese have been doing it for a long time before America was even fucking a thing.
This.
It's not. Yeah, it's
stuck.
Exactly.
And let's make it.
It's good for business,
fancy, right?
It's good for business to
make all this stuff look fancy, like shooting people, right?
It's not right. You'll get yourself on the news. You'll be famous. People will know who you are, and that's what you want.
Yeah,
you know?
Do you think by putting it in music and streaming it, do you think that glorifies this lifestyle for other children to reenact?
It does, but I don't necessarily think that in and of itself is the only reason that happens. That is what you're saying is true, but it isn't necessarily the only or even the major reason why. You know, you've got to remember who's making the fucking money off this. Who is in control of this?
Corporate, the big corporations.
It's not just big ones either, though. It's people who want to be big. It's ambition. It's because you look at Death Row Records. Death Row Records wasn't massive in the early 90s. Like Suge Knight got a hold of fucking Snoop Dogg and Tupac and Dr. Dre. You know what I mean? That Suge Knight was a gangster. Still is a gangster. Fucking, he's a terrible person, that fucker. But what he did is he had ambition and drive to get these people to do that. And ambition, it's like Macbeth. You know? It's as old as time. It's as old as fucking time. It's ambition. It's drive. It's doing anything to get where you want to go.
Right, and including the wrong things.
Especially the wrong things.
Horrible things, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that people set out to be evil. It's that people stop being good. People stop actively being good. If you remember at the beginning of Macbeth, Macbeth's a hero. Macbeth is like he has like won the day for the king. He's gone out and put down a rebellion, and then like some fucking bad witches come along and they're like, they were like, we can predict the future. Like we can tell you, the nudge is natural inclination to be ambitious, to want a little bit more, a little bit greedy, and that's where the corporate culture comes in. Have you ever seen the study about corporations and corporate culture that the incidence of psychopaths in positions of power in corporations such as CFOs, CEOs, and chairmen of banks and stuff, apparently about 1 in 4 is a psychopath, a non-violent psychopath, somebody who doesn't go around killing people. They just don't feel empathy for other people. Right? Massively, massively, massively over what the general population is, right? And the reason for it is that it's extremely exciting, it's extremely rewarding, right? It's extremely fucking financially fucking thing. It gives them all the excitement because psychopaths struggle to feel any emotion, right? Because if you look at the brain scan of a psychopath, much like somebody who's depressed, a lot of the brain is just simply switched off. So the struggle to get excited by anything, stuff like sex and drugs and extreme behaviors like killing people and doing mad shit like that. That's what
just thinking in repeated patterns and behaviors. That's the mind works in cycles. We work in cycles.
With psychopaths, they've always got to do more to get the same buzz. You know, it's like us with Perfume. They've always got to do more. So say a fucking psychopath fucking like beats someone up. The next time, right, they might have to maim somebody. And then the time after that, to get the same buzz, they might have to kill them. You know? or they might have to rape them, you know, and then they get into this cycle. What's going to relieve my boredom? What is going to relieve my fucking my need, you know? And that's why, and if you translate that to corporate culture where these people haven't been brought up and abused, right, then you will see that what they have to do is they have to commit more and more extreme fucking acts, which means they have to create more money, they have to get more money, you know, they have to do more, they have to go one step further every time. And the thing is that all of us have got a little bit of that in us, you know, all of us have got a little bit of that in us. It's just they have a lot of that in them and they don't care about the consequences.
Right.
And it's we do, and that's why we suffer. You know, we suffer because we feel the consequences, we understand the consequences. They don't, right? Like you will not. Like psychopaths can feign empathy. They can pretend they understand, but they don't. They're physically incapable. Their brains are physically incapable of feeling bad for anyone other than themselves.
Think they could be rehabilitated to find empathy?
No, it's physically impossible.
They're missing that part of the brain.
That part of the brain simply does not work.
Does that part? Do you think any of that lives in the heart?
No.
Or the body? Empathy?
No, not for psychopaths. For us, we will feel it all over our bodies because we have that part. We experience that in the mind. We experience that in our physical brain, the squidgy bit behind your eyes, literally. We feel it in their psychopaths. That just does not occur. It just doesn't. It's a profound lack of empathy. It's very, very strange. And it's really strange when you actually think about it. How these people can't feel it, even if they wanted to, which they don't want to, because they've never experienced anything other than it. It's all to do whether they become else. Yeah, exactly. They don't know any other way. Literally, they have no comprehension, no idea that another world exists outside their own. Other people are there for them. Right. And it's very strange. They're brilliant at certain things. If you wanted a good soldier, right? If you wanted to create a good soldier, send psychopaths in, you know?
Right. But psychopaths are the type that would want to be the one leading and
yes, that's the problem. You would get extremely selfish. Yeah, teamwork is not their forte. That's another thing that defines a psychopath. Really, really poor performance. You know, these psychopaths who get to the top of like these huge corporations and everything, it's almost always because of their charisma. And they can fake a personality, right? They can be very charismatic. They know what works, right? They know how to manipulate people. They know how to get people to do what they want, and they are very good at climbing these kind of hierarchies, right? Because there's a place where they want to go, and they have techniques on how to get there, right? The thing is, when they do get there, their performance in the job is shit. It's very well known. It's very interesting as well.
Do you think there are certain characteristics that psychopaths look for when they are gathering their people?
Yes.
What would those be?
Weakness, malleability, needy people. If they're looking for people to have around them, what they want are people who are easily manipulated, scared people, lonely, sad people, needy people. They don't want strong people who are going to stand up to them. That's the last thing that they want.
So very insecure people.
Very, very insecure people. You look at people, you look at Ted Bundy, right? Ted Bundy knew that because he'd learned over the course of his life that he was a good-looking young man who could like talk to people, and then he could like get them into like positions where he wanted them. and he could and then he could kill them for his own, like, and these people existed purely for his own entertainment. And that is unfortunately how people like him think.
Rich, I'm going to take a little break. I need a little break. Can you take over? I know you're really experienced at these live streams. What you can do is you can tell them where they can go vote for YouTube Fragrance Live Streamer of the Year.
Outrageous. I will. Okay.
And I will be back momentarily. Here's the link. Or you can talk about whatever fills your soul. I'll be right back.
I will. Eugene forgets that I don't have a soul, for I am but a duck. Quack. How are we, Eugene's chat? Sorry, you are stuck with me. This is just the way it has to be, unfortunately, and I don't have the chat to hand. Not right now, because Eugene has caught me in another room while he has gone on an excursion. So I'm just going to sit here and talk. If you see the link that Eugene has left on stream, then you will know that Juan from Fatboy Fragrance is holding a poll. And he is doing a poll for Live Streamer of the Year, which he outrageously didn't include Eugene on. But he did include Joey Cannoli, Miami Cuddles, Mr. Smelly, Unaverage Joe, and me, Rich Mitch. And he's giving an award out at some point. I think it's on the 10th of December, and it's the 2nd today. I don't know when the polling closes, but if you would like to vote for me for YouTube Streamer of the Year, according to Juan, then please go over to Fatboy Fragrance's channel, check out his community tab, and vote for me. Yes. So you are more than welcome to do that. In other news, well, I don't know. Maybe some of you don't know who I am. Maybe some of you do. I would like to think that you do know who I am, considering I've been sat here talking wet for about an hour and a half. Yes, I have my own channel. I talk about fragrances like Eugene does. I had my own channel for about a year and I would say about 18 months, around that kind of mark. And I used to come on Eugene's channel all the time on streams. We used to stream 2, 3, 4 times a week. And we had a blast. And then it got to the point where I couldn't stay awake. Until Eugene had got back from work. So I basically was like, oh, I can't be staying awake past 10 o'clock, mate. Can we, I need to bail. And fortunately, he let me, which was nice. And then I do my own streams, but a little bit earlier now. And I also talk about fragrances. I have just finished going through the Parfum de Empire sample set, of which I released a video today. Today? Yes, today. I released a video today. And I'm going to be starting on my next sample set soon. And I don't know which one to do. I have a few different sample sets, and I don't know which ones to choose from. I've got the newer Riesler Doré ones, which I'm going to which I am going to review. I think I'm going to do the Riesler Doré ones next, to be honest, because they're very topical at the minute. Somebody is asking, Fosco, lovely Fosco, Duck, Rich, what are you wearing today? Today I am wearing Grand Soir because it is an amber. And I've been feeling me ambers recently. Although Grand Soir's not the world's greatest amber, I won't lie to you. It's all right. I'm kind of hoping that I don't grow to love it, because if I do, that, I mean, fucking Coeur de Jean is not cheap, is he? Let's not take the piss here. Like, you can't get them at discounters anymore, which is a bit of a cow. It's yeah. Sean says it's meh, and it is meh. Phil says the winner will receive 130ml clone of his choice. I'll donate it to charity. Interference says I went back to Grand Soir recently and really enjoyed it. It's crowd pleasing too. It's we'll go and have a smell, shall we? I'll pick what up. Let's go and have a little whiff. I wonder where Eugene's gone. Might have gone for a dirty great shite. Who knows? So let's spray this and smell, shall we? It's one for the community, as Mark used to say. It's vanilla. It's vanilla, and it is vanilla as we know it, unfortunately. I fear that, I mean, it's vanilla amber Coeur de Jean style, you know? It's in that, if you like Coeur de Jean and you want an amber, this is probably the fragrance for you. Oh, excuse me whilst I hydrate. Oh, Eugene has returned.
Yo, Cameroon just scored in the 90th minute. They're beating Brazil 1-0. Shocking.
Did you go to check the scores?
It's 1-0. They're in overtime. They're in like 3-minute, whatever it's called. They've added 3 minutes. It looks like Brazil's gonna lose.
Yes, in. I love out like that.
Do you like that?
Yeah, I think it's funny. I like it when big teams get beat. Apart from England, but we've been beaten enough. It's about time somebody else got beat. I like when smaller teams like do well and like, because that's what football's about. Football's about like since it's a pyramid, right? And anybody from the bottom can play anybody from the top, you know, and win. It's how there is a path for your like your Sunday league team, like, which is like this thing in like the UK where like you and your friends will go and play. There is literally a path where you and your friends could get promoted season after season up to the Premier League if they wanted to, if they were good enough.
Right.
And it's like it, but there is also a path for your favorite Premier League team, if they were bad enough, to get relegated all the way down to being a Sunday league team. Right. So that's one of the great things about like football, you know, is there's like especially in Britain, is the pyramid. And there was a thing recently where the bigger clubs tried to lock in themselves so that they couldn't get relegated. They didn't have to participate in the pyramid. It was called the Super League, and it was shut down. And that was extremely rewarding because those fuckers are bad.
You love your soccer. You love your football, don't you?
Yes, that's right. Don't call it soccer, for God's sake. Nelly.
What does Bobby say here? Fat Boy stated that LD is already you-know-whatted.
Has he cloned it, has he?
Oh, is that what he means?
I think it is, because I know Fat Boy makes his own fragrances. But I think what he does is he just like makes them himself. So he doesn't use like a GCMS machine. Is that what they're called?
Are you kidding? I'd love to smell that actually and see how close it's come.
It'll be interesting. I can't see it being. Excuse me. Oh. It's. I can't see it being
I don't
like.
know if I should be angry or complimented.
Bit of both.
What would you do? What would you be, Rich?
I'm against clones in general, although I have softened my stance a bit, because I think that especially designer brands prices is just absolutely scandalous. Absolutely outrageous, really. That
Are,
so that like the way that designer brand pricing is going. I mean, it's going up every year, and it's going up by. It's not going up a little bit. It's going up silly amounts.
right.
But apparently Bob is saying that Juan hasn't cloned it. Somebody else has. Who was it, Bob? Who has cloned it?
Really? Already? It's only been out like 2 months.
Outrageous! It doesn't take 5 minutes to clone something.
Damn.
It doesn't take 5 minutes to clone something. This is what one of the things that pisses us off about it is all they do is they stick it in the GCMS machine, see what the profile is, and then just like basically use the chemicals. Oh, apparently Douleur, according to Bob, Douleurs copied your
Are you kidding?
Fucking little bastards. I don't like that
It's
fucking
kind
bloke.
of funny, to be honest. Like,
I think he's a bit of a Belle, like the Masham Raza.
I mean, I'm surprised. I'm just surprised. I'm surprised more than anything that it's happened so fast.
Imagine if some fucker fucking. Oh, excuse me. Imagine if
I
it's
can't be angry at that. I imagine that would only help the brand and help get.
What if it started out selling La Douleur Exquise? Maybe that's what one of the bottles that went to Dubai was for. I think that's where he's from. You've sent him it. Was there a guy called Masham Raza? Because that's his name, I think.
I can check. I mean, I have. It can also be ordered under a different name, but
yes, it could. Yeah,
I think I think that's what I need right now is just to get the name out there, is to people to know that the brand exists. You know, that would help tremendously.
I would agree.
I'm not sure I'm angry that it's been cloned, considering everything else has been cloned, but I think it would only help the brand, to be honest, just to get the name out there and spread the news that this brand actually exists.
Well, the problem you would have is that what people would do is, right, people would sample your fragrance, right, see if they liked it, so they would buy a sample off you, right, and then you would ship it to them, and it would be at a loss, right, and then if they liked it, they would buy the Douleur clone.
But here's the thing. I haven't even smelt the Douleur clone or whoever has cloned it. But I guarantee you one thing. It won't smell the same. It won't be with the same quality.
Exactly. I would say because of the standard of the ingredients used, that it just won't be the same. The problem you've got is that people who haven't got as good a nose for these things might think that it is.
That's possible. The people that don't really care, the people that aren't into perfume as deep as we are, who aren't as passionate, why would you not care about quality?
I mean, some people just don't like consumerism. You know, some people just want to fucking consume. Some people just want something to talk about. You know, I knew a drug dealer, right? I still know him, actually. I said I knew him. I still know him. And he sold coke, right? And what he said to me once, right, was because he used to put loads of shit in his coke, and he used to mix it with loads of shit, right? And I'd be like, do people not just want to pay a little bit extra and get better stuff? And he was like, some people do, but most people don't. Most people just want to put something up their nose.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you know that applies to fucking perfume? This was years. I'm talking years ago. We had this conversation. It's been a long time since we had this conversation. But he said, he was like, yeah. And then I applied it to perfume later on down the line. I was like, yes, it's always stuck with us that some people just want to put shit up their nose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like some people just want to be able to say, I've got a clone of La Douleur Exquise. And then what they'll do is, right, they'll be out and about, right, and they'll be wearing the clone. And what they'll say is, yeah, it's just the same fragrance.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. It's just as good. It's just as
Yeah.
good. I hear that all the time. Here's the
Right.
thing. This is the way I've always curated my perfume collection. I always went for quality over quantity, and didn't matter how much something costed. And if I wanted it, I would rather have that one of the perfume than three other things that I had less desire for,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's how I build my brand. And that's how I do everything, is by my own truth, by my own standards.
Yeah.
And I realize that not everybody shares those standards and the same truth with me. So there's nothing I can do about it.
No. No. No, you're right. I had different like itinerary. I had different standards. I had different needs and wants for my collection than what you did. And going for, excuse me, going forward, I beg your pardon. Going forward, I have again changed my parameters for what I want from my collection. Now I have to be buying things that I think are going to improve the collection. You
Well,
know?
yeah, and that's what you're supposed to be doing as a person going forward, is change your opinion, change your perspectives, like changing your parameters or making them tighter, only picking up more things that will make your collection more beautiful or better.
Yeah. Ah.
But I agree with, I don't think they'll be able to replicate the quality.
No, they won't actually be able
People will
to
say it
replicate.
smells close, but sure.
It'll give the vibe.
But do they have the magnetic cap? Ooh, can you imagine the clone had a mag cap?
I know.
Get
Sorry.
the mag cap. If you're gonna clone it, do it right. At least get the magnetic cap. Yo, don't cheap out. These caps are not cheap, right? The caps are not cheap. These are, dude, these are heavy. Listen.
I
These
know
are
they're
heavy.
heavy.
Listen. That's the cap.
I know. You could throw it at someone.
You hear that? If you're gonna do it, right? Don't halfway, don't cheap out. Do it right. Put the real
Oh, you're cheap out. I
castoreum.
mean, that's the whole point, though. It's cheaping out, isn't it?
Put the real castoreum in there.
Put the real Castorium all in there.
The real Spanish labdanum in there.
Is it Spanish labdanum, is it?
Yeah.
Spanish labdanum.
Put the real rose oil.
Yes.
What else is natural in there? Castoreum, labdanum, apopanox.
I don't know.
Brian's only 2.5. Has it been 2.5 hours already? Jeez, where does the time go? Where does the time go?
Have you got the boys tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to go pick up the boys this evening. And we are doing our annual gingerbread building festivities this weekend. We have all the kids. My sister comes over. She just messaged me a little while ago asking me about a sample. Hang on. She's like, where do you get these? I gave her a bag of samples once. And she's like, where do you get these fancy perfumes? And there's a picture of Maison Francis Courdian's oud. It's one of the ouds. I'm guessing she likes it.
Tell her you can get them on Fragrance Buy or Fragrance Net or Fragrance X or fucking any of the other fucking retailers. Don't go to the shop and buy them because they're a fucking ripoff. It's one of the reasons I started collecting. Well, it's one of the reasons I started collecting them. It is a big reason, which helps, is that you don't have to put money into these brands if you buy their old perfumes. It's not new money. They're not getting new revenue. Fuck them. You know? Screw that.
I didn't know Chanel Egoiste was ever duped.
Did you not?
No, who duped that?
Who duped it?
That's really interesting. Why would somebody dupe Chanel Egoiste when Chanel couldn't sell Egoiste itself? What made a knockoff company think they were going to sell it? Do you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, I mean, fucking Egoiste isn't the most expensive fucking perfume in the world. Egoiste's actually a really reasonable price. Like,
dude, you can get modern Egoiste for the price of a regular designer, and it's Chanel standards and qualities.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking ridiculous. And Chanel's not a great Egoiste is not a big seller.
Yeah.
You know? Same
No,
as
not at all. It's probably one of
Antares.
the worst selling Chanel fragrances of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the what was the other one? Antares. I was talking to one of the guys in the Chanel boutique where I live, and I said to him, because I remembered what you said about asking them what their best sellers are and what their worst sellers are, and he was like, "Oh, Antares will sell like one bottle a month if we're lucky." I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "The Coco Mademoiselle's probably their biggest seller."
Yeah, I can see
And I
that.
was like, "Holy shit!"
Even Coco, I bet, is a big seller. I was talking to a sales assistant a couple days ago about Coco, and she couldn't stand Coco. She's like, it's just too much perfume for me, but she loves Mademoiselle.
Outrageous.
Guess what I wore yesterday, Rich? For the
What did
very
you eat
first time,
yesterday?
I gave
What?
it a proper wearing.
Go on.
Balenciaga.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Outrageous. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a good perfume. It's a very big perfume, and it's super soapy. I think it's built on a base of ambergris. Very waxy.
Really?
Yeah. I get so much ambergris from this.
Did you look at your bottle, right, and see if it's got, because yours is a tester, isn't it?
It is.
Does it have Bois de Oud on the back? Because there's some people say that there's oud in it, and I distinctly remember somebody saying, it's got oud written on the back of
Okay,
the
so
tester.
I'll read out all the notes.
Okay.
Top notes: cinnamon, Italian bergamot, coriander, and thyme. Body. So the heart notes: patchouli, sandalwood, cypress, cedar. The dry notes, they call them. So the base notes: Yugoslavian oak moss,
Yes, I
vanilla
remember.
bourbon, amber, and musk. So there's
No,
no oud listed.
no
I
oud.
don't get anything oudy from this at all. But
I don't. I think it's the patchouli that people are
oud is a
mistaken.
perception, right? And by oud, like I don't get any oud from this. I mean, like I don't get any like smoky wood chips. I don't get anything medicinal. I don't get like a barnyardy blue cheese sort of thing. Although I feel like there is a civet in here. Did I say civet? I feel like there is a civet in here.
There's
Is
definitely something slightly. I think it's from the honey.
slightly. I don't even want to call it filth, but there's something slightly dirty to this.
Body-ish.
Right. But it's not that huge, soapy, clean contrast in the opening. I get a lot of ambergris, that waxy smoothness that I find in a lot of Chanel's. And I'm reminded of things like Bois de Zil a lot. When I wear this, I think Bois de Zil for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, it's probably the combination of sandalwood and ambergris.
Interesting.
The guys are guessing the name of the LDE clone. La Dollar exercise. La Dollar squeeze.
Dollar squeeze.
But I liked it. I really enjoyed wearing this. However, considering where it stands on the greats compared to, you know, the classic masculines, I still prefer, let's say, Kuros to this, the
Right.
bottle of Kuros that I have, and Enteus. I find that I'm drawn to them more. Like I go into those perfumes more, I find myself.
Yes. I think that there may be better perfumes than it, but I think it's my favorite. It does a lot of things that I want from my perfume. It's absolutely massive. It's got superior. It's got like the blending that I like. Gerard Anthony just makes fragrances that I like. And then it's got a smell, just like the smell, slightly sweet, slightly dry, slightly mossy. Big. The performance is massive. It's a big perfume, like you said. I think there are better perfume. I'm not trying to claim that it's the best perfume ever made, or even like the best masculine or anything like that. What I am saying is it's my favorite.
Yeah, no, interference is saying it'll grow on you. No, I like it. It's a really nice perfume. There's nothing that hasn't grown on me. However, I do prefer some other masculines to this.
Yeah.
It's
No,
vintage perfume.
yeah. For me, it is. It is probably the essence of what I love about perfume. You
Right.
know, it's a lot more than just one thing as far as like the perfume is concerned.
Right.
You know,
Enrique is asking Santos or Balenciaga. And again, being like completely honest, I think Santos is a better version than Anteus, and I love Anteus. I think it's more interesting. The quality might even be better than Anteus. So saying that, you know, if I like Anteus better than Balenciaga, I think I prefer Santos to this as well.
that's an outrageous statement. You really like Santos.
I think Santos is brilliant.
I think Santos is fucking fantastic. Like I absolutely love it. Like it's so musky, it's so green, it's so 80s.
It's
You
so
know,
ashy. I love the opening ash inside of that citrus. You know what it reminds me is, and this is morbid, it kind of reminds me of death. It reminds me of urns of ash, an urn filled with ash. It reminds me of funerals.
do you get galbanum from it?
I'd have to spray it.
Okay. Have you got an old one?
Give me a moment.
Oh, off he goes. He's going to find it.
Here's what I got.
Okay.
So it's not modern and it's not original release either, but it is an older test. This is a tester bottle.
See if Anuja's got an older one. I think there's significant differences. I think the older one's much greener. I love the sound of that sprayer.
Look at this sprayer. Let me cover my coffee.
Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Gorgeous. It's amazing. Yo,
It is.
this is classic masculine masterpiece. It's so good.
It's fabulous. It's a Cartier is a really underrated house for me.
It's so damn good.
Like they don't get anywhere near the love that they should.
This is what, you know, your older uncle that comes over for Sunday lunch, wearing his Argyle sweater would smell like.
Yeah.
Right. You know, the uncle that spent time with you and read books and took you to the park and you just have like the best memories of him.
Yeah.
I don't have that uncle, but this is what I would imagine he would smell like. Actually, I do. I do have an uncle like that. I was thinking of my dad's side for some reason. My mom has a brother. He's great. He's brilliant. He's awesome.
Oh.
But he never read to me. But I mean, that doesn't make a difference. And his signature is, get this, his signature, his one and only fragrance is Original Polo.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Classic masculine.
That's all he'll wear. He's a very masculine fella.
Outrageous. Does he live in Croatia?
Nah, he just lives down the road.
Huh? Did he move over with them?
No, he used to live in Croatia, but he came here too, like after my mom.
Outrageous. Outrageous. Oh!
What's on the agenda?
I don't know. What is on the agenda?
Are you streaming today?
No, not today. It's too late now.
Have you sent the people to vote?
Yes, I told everybody. To go to Juan's channel and vote on his poll. I don't know how.
There's 469 votes. That's a lot of votes. I tell you that. And It looks like you're running away with this thing so far.
Happy days.
You're running away. So I mean, there's still a couple of days. Oh, December 10th.
Well, that's when he's going to announce it. He said that he was going to take the poll down at some point before then, but he wasn't going to tell anyone when.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think he just wants to stop people from
or get all the people's votes in as quickly as he can.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
He's been wearing polo green for 40 years. Has he noticed reformulations?
Most certainly he must have.
He'll have thought that is not very strong. That is not very strong.
Rich, what are you wearing today? Did you give us your scent of the day?
Yes, I'm wearing Grand Soir.
You are?
I'm wearing Grand Soir.
I got to say, I'm surprised to hear that, but pleasantly surprised.
How do you
feel about it?
I think it's okay, but it's not as it's an amber, which I love, and it's an amber done by Coeur de Jean. If you're a fan of Coeur de Jean and you want an amber, that's the amber to get. I compare all ambers to Amber Sultan, and not many of them stand up to that kind of scrutiny. You know, there's not many fragrances stand up to that kind of scrutiny. It's a fucking I don't think I'll buy a full bottle. I've got a 10 ml or an 11 ml travel atomizer thing, and that's about all I'm probably going to use. Like, I'll get through that. That's really the reason I wore it today. I'd like to use it up. I've decided I'm going to try and use up a few of my more smaller bottles, you know, and try and get through them. Maybe sell a couple off or something like that. I don't know, but I've got those Frederick Malle, little Frederick Malles as well.
Yeah,
and I'm going to try and use those up too.
I really like Grand Soir.
Why?
It wears very well. It's a good wear. It's a full wear. It is a fulfilling wear. It pleases me. It might not be groundbreaking, but I think it's excellently made. It's interesting. It's pleasant. It's not outrageous. It's not nearly as, I don't want to say challenging, or maybe it's not nearly as daring as Ombre Sultan. Well, I think it's a great version. What's up, Bees? Good to see you.
Bees
of St. Ambrose. He's wearing patchouli trauma.
Did you send him that?
No, you sent it to him.
Did I?
Yeah. He's the guy in, is it Czechoslovakia? You sent a sample early on to Czech.
Outrageous.
No, was it Czech or Slovenia? Czech Republic. I think it's the Czech Republic. Shit, now I feel dumb. Czech
Damn.
Republic.
Check. You need to check it out.
Czech. I think it was Czech.
I do now remember that. I do now remember Bees of St Ambrose and talking to him. I just couldn't remember what I'd done.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't remember if I'd done that. I'd sent a couple.
B's response to La Douleur Exquise was his wife found it too dirty and he thought it wasn't challenging enough.
Ooh. Ooh. So there's a sweet spot in the middle there.
Yeah.
And there's a sweet spot in the middle. I wore Belle yesterday.
Yep.
I wore Belle yesterday. It's cloudy. It's got this billowing, kind of cloudy, undefined, but refined, but undefined kind of nature about it. It's got this dry, salty residue kind of thing, like when you've sweated and then the sweat's dried on your skin, and then like you lick that skin. And you get the skin, salty skin, kind of that kind of vibe as well.
Sure, I get that. Do you think it fit the brief?
So tell me the brief. Like
the a healing brief, something cozy, warm, kind of finding yourself in spirituality, just being warm and cozy, healing, forgiving yourself.
It's got this kind of, without being lactonic, it's got a kind of milky, creamy aspect, you know, which kind of evokes that childhood, you know, like when you're not very well, when you're a child and your parents give you like a drink of milk or a drink of hot milk or something like that, and it's got that kind of comfort food without it being gourmand, because I don't think it is gourmand. We had this conversation. We had this conversation before before you released it, whether I thought it was gourmand or not, and I was like, no. What a chocolate note. That cocoa doesn't give off gourmand vibes. It might be a food note, but for me, it doesn't give off. For me, that gives it more of a sweetness than it does like a food vibe.
Right. I find the chocolate more dry than sweet.
Yeah. It's got a dryness to it. It's got a salty sort of, like the salty sort of note gives me sort of like, not dirty skin, but salty skin, like a human sort of touch to it, you know? Sorry?
Can I tell you something? I don't think I've revealed this yet. This was something that Antoine and I had talked about. In the opening, he had tried to do something that would have connected it to LDE, and LDE was the pain, right? It was the wound, it was the scab. And in the opening of Belle, there is this feeling, this sense of almost like the texture of a scab. Do you know what the feeling of a scab is?
Yes. Yes.
So he's incorporated that into the opening.
So this thing about me talking about skin, the skin, it could be something to do with that, because I got a skin kind of vibe from it. But I would say salty skin, a bit like well, I mean, Brian said in the chat, salty tears.
Salty tears?
Yeah, salty tears. like that kind of vibe. Oh, excuse me, whilst I sit on this chair. Belle. So
I saw a comment saying it smelled like an altar. Where did that go? Who said that? In the opening, I get a sense of a shrine or an altar. Yeah, it is. I wanted something meditative, and I get that, Joe M. I get that more in the base, that altar, that serenity, that peacefulness, that calm, kind of that of um being with yourself in a kind of a spiritual practice. I get that in the base. That's what I
yeah,
get, but in the dry down.
I don't
What do
know.
you want your fragrances to smell like? Of healing. Such an odd brief, isn't it?
I bet it's better than a lot of the briefs he gets.
Yeah,
Or, or
he's one thing he said is like he's never gotten any like a request to ever do anything like this. And I thought, well, yeah, why not? Like, why can't this be the first time? Why not?
yes. Is it the same chocolate cocoa note that is in MXXX?
When he mentioned he's going to work with it, he said it was the same thing that he's put in Vanille Havan.
Okay.
That's all I can say. And I said,
Well,
sure. Try it.
I've got all three. I've got Belle, obviously.
So I imagine it is the same one in Triple X
Yes, because it's that ultrasound
extraction.
version extraction. Yes, that's right.
I imagine it is. And that's just kind of it seems like it's going like a signature note for him.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Peter with his
that's the Liade, you know, the Guerlainade or the Chanelade.
Yeah, the Liard.
Yeah, the Liade, which is cool.
The Liard, the chocolate and iris together.
One Liade is the cacao note.
I remember saying to you when he was making it, you sent me a couple of the submissions to smell, and we sat on the phone for a couple of hours talking about them, smelling the same thing, but talking about them across the ocean. And I remember, do you remember me? So I remember this because I remember where I was sitting. And I said to you, because it was just chocolate and iris at the time, I remember saying to you, you could release this as is. You could just release this. You could just release this chocolate and iris thing together.
That initial very first submission.
Yeah, you could just release that as a perfume by itself and people would buy it. People would buy it simply based on the quality of the materials,
right,
and the way it smelled as an accord by itself. I remember saying you could just fucking snap his hand off right now and you could just sell that no problem.
I remember you saying that very clearly, and that, you know, in that you gave me sort of some validation. I felt better hearing that because I do hold your words to a high standard. But I also knew, and I did kind of like when I smelt that at that moment, I was like, the very first time I had smelt it on my own, I was like, I'm working with a master perfumer, and I was so happy, like, that I was going to be able to put out something like this at this quality. But I also knew that what I was smelling, as beautiful as it was, it could be better. Like we could do something with this. Like it was an excellent start. And he had agreed as well. Oh, hello. Aliens. Dude, I think aliens have intercepted the live stream. Hello, alien. How are you?
Quack.
Welcome.
Oh, sorry.
And just as quickly they disappeared.
That's right. I need to do. Where am I? Am I still here? I am still here.
I see your avatar.
Whoops. Yeah, I am still here. Hold on. This is what I wanted to show you. I've got all three. There's Belle, Triple X, and Vanilla Havana. And all three of these have Antoine Lee's chocolate in them, or cacao, or cacao. Cuckoo. I don't know what that was, sorry. But they all have his chocolate note in them. And I am wondering if these three would bear a comparison. You have got all three of these because you've got a sample of MXXX, haven't you?
Rich, do you mind turning your camera to the side the other way to get a full screen?
Like that?
Yeah, give it a moment. Do you have your full screen on lock or something?
Hold on a second. Give us a second. Hold on.
And I will dig out my Eris samples.
Okay. You do that, and I'll do this. How's that?
That's good.
Okay. So, whoops. Sorry, I haven't got the Hoojar. What's it called? Tripod. I haven't got the tripod to hand. So, sorry about the wibble. There you go. Vintage Rich Mitch video, this. This is when this is how I used to do it. You can see all my perfumes in the background.
Okay, so I am which sample am I digging out?
MXXX.
Okay.
Have you got Vanilla Havana to hand as well?
I do. Do I need waters or are we going to skin? What are we doing here?
You go on skin. I'm already covered in perfume.
Okay, so I will apply some Vanilla Havana first.
Okay.
Actually, because I know Vanilla Havana, I'm going to apply XXX first.
Have you smelled that one yet?
I may have. I can't remember it.
A mystery.
Okay, so I've just put on some XXX.
Okay.
Let me be part of this. There's some dirt and filth in here, yo.
Oh dear.
But is there galbanum in here?
It's
peppery and fiery.
It's got that. Yeah, there's another one that's really peppery. I think it's Scorpio Rising.
I get a sense of Scorpio from this.
Scorpio Rising. There's something that runs through them all, maybe with the exception of Marbate. There's an exception. There's a theme that runs through them, maybe with the exception of Marbate. That is joining them all up. You know, like you can tell they're all made by Antoine Lee.
Yeah. This is very full.
It's very dense, very thick.
Full perfume.
Yeah.
And I get the cacao. However, if I didn't know what it was, I think I would have a hard time identifying it.
Okay.
This is not sweet at all, eh?
No, it's not that kind of sweet. There's a mace note in it. There is a ginger note in it.
God, this is really good.
Hyrax. There's a Hyrax note in it. To me, that can give off a kind of fiery spice kind of vibe. You know?
This is very spicy, and I'm thinking cinnamon. I am thinking something very peppery, spicy, like a chili pepper.
There's no chili pepper.
Black pepper, something biting. It's a biting pepper.
Mace.
Mace. What is mace?
Mace is a little bit. It's like red, and it's a little bit. It's like nutmeg, you know. And it's got that kind of thing. There's also saffron in it and ginger. Pink pepper.
Yeah, I can see that. Pink pepper. I can see that. Yeah, it's very spicy, but in the best way. Like really good.
Yeah. It is spicy. It is a spicy little number. A spicy meatball, as Peter would say.
Bryce says, I will DM you privately about number 3. I sent Bry a little sample of number 3.
Outrageous.
Blowing his mind.
Outrageous. Mace is the outside of a nutmeg. That would make sense.
Nutmeg I find a very interesting spice because it's pungent and it could be spicy and dirty at the same time. It's very interesting.
Peter is claiming that he would not say it was a spicy meatball, and he would say that. That's exactly
who is Salieri? Salieri talent. Who they keep talking
Salieri. It's Salieri. Have you ever seen Amadeus?
No.
Film, right? Amadeus. Salieri was a well, in real life, Salieri was a composer who was highly regarded, but he wasn't Mozart. In the film, Salieri recognizes Mozart's genius and becomes very envious and hates him and plots to kill him and stuff like that, and basically drives him to his death. But in real life, that's not how it happened, and they actually got on quite well. It was a great play. If you really want to see, the definitive version of Amadeus, watch the Paul Scofield theatre version.
Okay.
Paul Scofield, one of the best actors ever. Probably my favorite actor.
So Fosco's saying I love MXX, and I can see why.
It's lovely. I'll spray a little bit.
There's so much going on here, dude.
Yes, dry, woody. I get a dry woodiness from it first.
There's a lot to unpack here. Like, this is not a simple perfume. This is dense, and it's very thick.
Would you have released this?
I would certainly put my name on this.
Okay. So if Antoine had submitted this to you,
I mean, this wouldn't fit the brief that I was going for.
No,
just to clear that. But I mean, if this was the result and it fit the brief, and this to me is it's really good. It's fucking amazing, to be honest.
It is. It's brilliant. It is
just like what I'm getting now, without even wearing it on my arm. I can tell this is really good.
Yeah, it's the only one I bought. I got the sample set and I bought a bottle of this. Fucking brilliant.
It's very stimulating. It's stimulating my senses.
Is it stimulating your senses, is it?
Yeah. I feel like I'm on cocaine and I've never even tried cocaine, sort of. You know what I mean?
You're getting edgy.
I'm getting a rush from it.
Outrageous.
Joe says, I'm just going to say, Joe, just to make it easier, I couldn't smell the cacao in MXXX. It almost feels like the cacao used here is more for texture than sweetness.
It's given it a depth, hasn't it? It's got ambergris in it as well. Big ambergris note, you know?
Really good perfume, man. Really good.
Yeah. Try MX now.
Okay.
Mix. It's called Mix. That's how you pronounce it. Let's see how you feel. I actually preferred MX to MXX. Yeah, I preferred it the first time I smelled it. MXXX grew on us because the performance on MX is shit.
So you have MX, you have triple X.
I've got triple X. I've got M triple X. Yes. I have M triple X, and frankly, I'm thinking of getting it back up because it's meant to be limited edition, but I don't know how true that is because it keeps popping up all over the shop.
Do you find Vanille Havane to be boozy? Yes. I can't lie and say I don't get a sense of booze when I do.
I get something which indicates that, you know, I get something which indicates that it is that, like, it points in that direction, you know, but I don't necessarily get a sweetness from it.
Right. Okay, so MX is different, but they are certainly connected. There is a great sense of connection here.
Yeah.
It's a full perfume, but it's not as complex as triple X. It feels like there's it's a little bit more simple. I mean, without trying to discount it. That's not what I'm trying to do. It's still very full, though.
I preferred the way that it came off at first. I'll see if I can find the.
It almost feels like an easier version of Triple X to wear. Triple X has balls.
Yeah.
Right. It's fiery and spicy and dirty. It might be too much for some people.
Yeah. The Hyrax is replaced. It hasn't got Hyrax in it. It does have saffron and ginger at the top. It does have the sandalwood. It doesn't have the ambergris. So it hasn't got the ambergris in it, which might be why it doesn't perform as well. The black pepper's a lot stronger. There's birch. What's that?
I feel like there's some birch tar in Triple X.
Yes, I think there is. It was a
smoky. It's getting really smoky.
No, apparently there is no birch, but there is Haitian vetiver and Hyrax. Castoreum as well.
It's really good. It's a beast.
Does he use natural castoreum?
Bestial qualities to it.
Which one?
Triple X.
Triple X has got ambergris, Hyrax, and castoreum. You could be getting the smokiness from the castoreum. It's also got a whopping great Madagascan vanilla in it.
In Triple X?
Yep.
I don't think I pick up all the things that you mentioned. I don't get kind of like.
I've got a vanilla aspect from it and a benzoin.
Dude, this is really good. And I think it's limited too, isn't it?
It is limited. And you can only get 50 ml bottles.
Why is it limited?
I imagine it's because of the ingredients. Stuff like the ambergris, because there's no ambergris in MX.
Okay. Do I get boozy from what, Bobby? I get boozy from Vanilla Man. Yeah, I don't get booze from this.
Sorry.
Joe says they're comparing Belle and Triple X and still no cacao in MXX. Mace is the outside of nutmeg. Damn.
That's a kick on the nutmegs.
Bobby O wanting to know why Bry got a third sample. Well,
you can't send samples to everybody. Everybody's had.
I realized that the moment I did, I was like, "Oh fuck! I've just created a problem."
Yes,
but problems are made to be corrected.
Are you going to be releasing the third one in a few months' time as well?
Yeah, it'll be next year sometime.
Have you had a good take up of oh shit, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh shit, right, I've just dropped a Horlicks. Hold on.
Somebody's just ordered a bottle of perfume, and I'm gonna guess that it's from the UK or overseas. It's not in America or Canada. Are you here?
I am here. Are you here?
Is it somebody here from the chat?
Have you had as good a response to Belle as you have had to La Douleur Exquise?
So far, we have sold much more bottles of La Douleur Exquise.
Okay.
That's because it's been out much longer.
Okay, but in the same sort of time frame, so it's been out like a week, right?
Nope.
Did La Douleur Exquise
sold more?
Okay.
I think the reason for that is possibly because it was put out on Black Friday.
Right.
And people were spending their money looking for savings, right?
Yeah.
Getting discounts. So
it needs to filter out there. I often wonder, do you know La du Desert Marocain? I do wonder how long it took for that to be picked up as a gem that everybody knew about, you know?
Yeah, I think once Luca Torin gave it 5 stars, it just kind of blew out, right? That was its defining moment.
Have you sent any to Luca Torin?
I sent him LDE, yeah. I got I sent him samples of all 3 and they got returned because his information on the website offers his Greek address, which I believe he's no longer at. So I got a hold of him and he gave me the address to his UK, wherever he's staying in the UK.
Okay. You should have said I'd send him some.
Sorry?
If you'd said, I would have sent it to him. And then he could have had it.
Yeah, well, he's got it now.
He's got it now. All right, that's all right.
Got it now, yeah.
I thought for some reason that he still hadn't received it. Like, has he ever got back to you and told you?
Nope.
Nope.
He just said thanks. That was his response.
Shit house.
It's fine.
I'm sure he'd be enjoying it. I mean, I'd be surprised if he didn't.
I would imagine he will.
Yeah.
Galen has sent samples to the Art and Olfaction Award of LDE.
Yes, that's right. Yes, you mentioned that. I'm intrigued to see what becomes of that.
And you know, so the deadline was just the other day. I think it was December 1st. And you know, like the next day I'm thinking, damn, why didn't I send a sample of Belle? Like, I should have sent a damn sample of Belle, and I regretted not doing so, you know, because it was eligible. It was released a week before the deadline.
Can you not do that anymore then? Is it
no,
past
the deadline was December 1st, and I was like kicking myself.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, LDE is brilliant in its own way, but I mean, they're 2 very completely different perfumes.
I think that Belle sort of I think that Belle if you get traction, then it could take off in a big way.
Yeah, it just needs to be noticed. Like people need to become aware that it's available, or that that it exists, that it's a thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And because it's so new, it doesn't have the awareness isn't out there.
When he releases his next book, if he does, when he does, if you're in it, you know, could be a big thing for you.
That would be amazing. I would love that.
You know,
I'd love it.
I've just jammed my finger. Yeah, it would be interesting. Like, you would hope that he would fucking say nice things about it. Sorry, I'm just destroying things.
Yeah, Interference makes a good point. There's a lot more communication for LDE than Belle. Yeah, there's a lot more awareness. It was. I think it was promoted more as well. Belle just kind of happened, right? I just kind of put it out there and made a video or 2, made a couple of Instagram notifications, and that was it.
Yeah, the thing, because I keep having a go at Peter about how he doesn't market his perfumes and stuff. He's got like a channel with 44,000 people on, and I keep saying,
have that many subscribers.
He's had that many for years, man.
Wow,
he's had that many.
I didn't realize he had that many.
People desperately trying to achieve those kinds of numbers, and Peter did it without trying, and just releasing his videos and being himself, and then fucking walked away from it. And
I gotta say something. There's something about Peter's channel where I will, like, if I search, let's say LDE, Peter's will be the first to show up. But then before other videos of LDE pop up, it'll be like more of Peter's videos. So YouTube is pushing Peter's algorithm very nicely for him, like in his benefit.
Yes, right. And he doesn't work it like he should. That's my thing. Not that he hasn't got it, it's that he doesn't use it as much as he should. or
Right.
to his
Yeah.
greatest advantage. Like literally, Peter's got a video on his channel that's got more views on it than I've got on my entire channel. You know what I mean? It's
What video?
disgusting the shit house. I'm
What
fucking
video?
raging. And and he just does it. But then the thing is what I kept saying to him is that he's like, it's that he's genuine. You know what I mean? He's genuine. And it's like that people buy into that sort of thing. And the thing is that I'm a believer in momentum on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Like in momentum, and the thing is, Peter sort of had his own shit going on, wanted to do other things in his life away from YouTube, and I think that when that momentum drops off, it's hard to recapture people. You know, people move on, people drift away. I've noticed that even in my short time and my tiny channel, that some people will be really into you. And you don't necessarily have to say anything bad. You don't have to do. It's just people just gravitate away, you know, and people gravitate towards you, and that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? It's just 44. Peter
They
had
find
44,000. Sorry, go on.
they find community in your channel and a place of belonging, a sense of belonging, and people enjoy that. But I agree. I think Peter, he could be using it to his advantage, but it seems like he almost doesn't. He's got other things going on that are more interesting for him.
Yes, he's just exactly.
It depends on what he wants to do, right? The ball is in his court. He gets to decide.
Yes. Peter says Peter Hard speaking about me like I am dead. It's like I don't know. If I had 44,000 people watching, I'd be like, yay.
Fosco says Luca Turn likes Antoine Lee, so hoping for the best. Has he ranked Antoine Lee's in his guides before?
He's done
a text really quickly.
No, he's done Rianne, hasn't he? Pretty sure he's done Rianne.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's done Rianne.
How did Rianne fare?
I don't remember. I'm just sure I've heard that he reviewed it. Like, I'm sure he reviewed it. Luca was not a fan of MX. Was he a fan of MXXX though? Was he? He gives Fosco says he gave Secretions 5 stars and loved Rianne.
Wow. 5 stars to Secretions. Considered like when the conversation comes up about like most challenging or disgusting perfumes, Secretions always comes up, right?
It's so foul. It's so bad. I smelled it. I thought I hadn't smelled it, and then I was reminded that I had smelled it. And I was like, oh God, yes, that's right. You should regret letting your unpaid intern handle important business, says Galen.
Listen, I send this guy money and all he does is send it back. I don't know what to do. Like, I can only tell him, and I keep telling him that I appreciate him. And I always let, the important people in my life, I always remind them how important they are. So until he's willing to take a paid position, I can just keep reminding you that I appreciate you and I'm grateful for everything you do. Galen, thank you.
I'll take money. The fucking car.
You gotta work for it. You gotta earn it.
Oh, fuck that. Oh, fuck that. You can keep it.
It doesn't go out for no reason, right?
The fucking car kicked the shit out of us this week. It was fucking tragic. Absolutely fucking mulleted. I was like, why are you doing this? And it's just pain and suffering. But it's driving like a brand new car now. Oh, it's glorious. Like, that was nice. I'm sure that's that's not what made us miserable. It was Farming Simulator that set us off earlier this week. Farming Simulator upset my entire weekend. It ruined my Saturday last week. I was wounded. I don't know if you've ever played Farming Simulator, but it was far too realistic.
never even heard of it, man. I don't know what the hell that is.
Absolute poverty it was.
What's your opinion on the Emergencies Act on Freedom Convoy? Is that the whole trucker thing?
What happened with that? Did they go back to work?
Well, they started fining people and started closing their bank accounts if you were donating to the trucker, the trucker convoy. They were shutting down your bank accounts here in Canada.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I don't think they should have a right to my money or anyone else's money. I earned that money, right? And just because my contribution goes to what you believe in, that doesn't mean I shouldn't have the right to believe in. And I'm not talking just about the trucker convoy. I'm talking about anything in life. There's a yin and yang. There's an opposite to everything except for God. God's the only thing that has no contrast. Everything else has contrast. There's good and bad, good and evil, light and dark. You know, your opinion there's going to be contrast to your opinion.
He's if it wasn't terrorism,
be allowed to exist. Who is somebody to say that this is the only right opinion? The world, the country is divided, right? So you obviously got your belief somehow, whatever your belief is, right? And you're looking at the other side and going, yeah, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And this side is doing the exact same thing. Somehow they came to this conclusion that their belief is right. And they're looking at the other side going, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Well, how do you decide which side is right? Which side is wrong? Well, there's probably a little truth to both sides. So I don't think anyone should have the power to decide what's right from wrong. That's what we are as a society. That's what we're here for, to choose for ourselves.
But you elect people to make laws and decide on your behalf what is right and wrong.
Right. So but a lot of times these people don't make laws for the right thing. They make laws for their own benefit and how their interests can be gained.
Then what you have to do is vote them out at the next election and get someone in who will undo that.
Fucking same cycle over and over and over again.
Change it. Stand for election.
I agree with you 1,000,000%. The whole system needs to be torn down. It hasn't worked for many years. It's getting worse.
Excuse me whilst I hydrate. That wasn't an awkward silence. I was just drinking. Tonya gave it 1 star. Luke Turin is the reason we are here hanging out on this live stream. He was the first to look at perfumes as artistic endeavors worthy of discussion and evaluation. And he's been trying to monetize it ever since.
You think Luca Turn's trying to monetize his opinion?
Oh God, yes, of course he is. He's released 2 books. And he took his videos off YouTube and onto Vimeo, which is
so I think there's nothing wrong with him trying to monetize his opinion, but I don't see him heavily promoting it. It's out there. He made it available for you if you're interested, but I don't see him promoting anything at all. It might be the odd time. I got no problem with that whatsoever.
No,
I'm grateful that a person like Luca Turn exists. So I have something to share with him. Like, I like a lot of his opinions, even though I don't always agree with them. I think he's a dude just like all of us in the chat. He just he does his thing differently.
So Brian makes a good point here where he says Aaron Terrence Hughes talks about chemistry all the time. Doesn't make his views any better than the layman's. I would sort of agree. I don't know enough about Luca Turin personally, although I have opined on him before, and I wasn't very complimentary, simply because he shits on stuff quite heavily, which I do. You know, maybe there's a sign there. You know what I mean? But he I don't know, something rubbed us the wrong way.
About?
I don't know the way that he sort of the way that he sort of shat on stuff. You know, it was how he did it. It was very strident. And I mean, he's eminently more qualified than I am, but that's not the point. The point is it's a game of opinions. We
Right.
do share a lot of opinions. Well, the point I was sort of half making there is that maybe we're too maybe I don't like him enough because we're maybe like too like similar to be compatible, if that
Like
makes
looking
sense.
in the mirror, maybe?
Yeah, sort of thing, and not liking what you're saying. Yeah. So I think there's an aspect of that, definitely. I'm not trying to say that my opinion is better informed than Luca Turin's. Don't be silly, because it's not. But what I'm trying to say is that's kind of the point. Like, it's just one man's opinion. Motherfuckers put his in a book. You know what I mean?
Right. And he's done his time. He's experienced, and he's got a lot to offer, and I think it's great. Keep it coming. The more, the better for us. It gives us community. His release gives us community. It gives us something to convene over and discuss.
Well, Galen sat and said in the chat there that that we wouldn't be sat here if it wasn't for Luca Turin, which I'd never thought of it like that before.
I don't know. I'm not sure if he came before Chandler Burr, but Chandler does the exact same thing, maybe even more so on artistic merit. He compares Perfume to arts from the past, and he does a great job just as well.
I don't know who Chandler Burr is. Dangerously close to Chandler Bing.
He was a critic on the New York Times that wrote about Perfume.
Outrageous.
He's got a couple of TED Talks on Perfume that are really good. I'm a big fan of Jean-Claude Elena and Hermesance. Yeah, I think he had also written a couple of books. I think one of them had written about each other. I think Chandler Burr may have written about Luca Turin. So another good guy to look into. Check out Chandler Burr.
Chandler Burr. Persolaise as well. Persolaise has been writing about Perfume for about 11 or 12 years now.
Yeah, a very respectable opinion. I'd like to see him going a little bit harder personally, but that's more like a reflection of, myself.
Yeah. I don't think that's in his nature, although he may feel like that personally. I think that he's very I was talking to my friend about this, literally about Persolaise and this very subject the other day. And what was the word I used about I think it was like sophisticated or something like that. I think he's not like, I don't think he's got that, or if he did have those kind of feelings and those kinds of intents, I don't think he would ever express them publicly. I think he is refined.
Yeah, I think he's very centered. He's very centered to himself. He's very aware. He doesn't need to express any sort of hate or anger because it doesn't live inside of him. That's the way I see him, as a beautiful man. You don't see him critic. He's not criticizing Perfume for the sake of being critical, but I find him much more subjective, or as subjective as you can be, for a man that has experienced as much Perfume as he has. Like, he's obviously experienced the best things in the world, right? So his level of criticism is going to come from a different level than someone that's smelled less things. But at the same time, he's not, he's not hateful. He's not demeaning.
No.
I find him very centered.
Yes.
And
so
he's refreshing. He's a breath of fresh air. He's very easy to watch, and he's very calming. He's charming. He's got a charm to him, right? He's funny. You look at his thumbnails, he's smiling in all of the thumbnails. Like, he draws you in. You can't help but be drawn in when you see Persolaise. I can't imagine anybody hating on this. If you hate Persolaise, there's something deeply wrong with you. Deeply.
Yeah. I'm kind of attracted as like an opposite to me. I see that kind of like what he is, the way he is something that I know that I'm not, and I find that quite like, attractive is not the right word, because it implies like physical attraction and that kind of thing. I think I am more sort of like drawn towards his kind of his kind of content and his kind of way, because it's like the opposite to mine, you know.
You think so?
I think that his manner and
Oh,
his
his
kind of,
personality is different. I thought you were talking about your taste in fragrance.
no, not taste and fragrance. I mean like his way of delivery and his kind of, you know, like that sort of like, I think because that's totally the opposite to me. His delivery and his presentation and his kind of skill set is very different, which is why I enjoy watching him so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
And
because
it's
you
like
can
what
learn.
you can take, yeah, exactly. And it's like sort of the same with like with you, apart from our sort of presentation and delivery is more similar than the difference. It's closer together than the difference between mine and Purcell is,
Right.
but our tastes are almost like diametrically opposed. So it's one of those things that sort of like draws you in as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like what is this person saying here? You know, like what is this? What is this? You know?
Mm,
And I want to find out more. I need to see more. And it's like if you respect the person, if you understand and you know that like they're not a dickhead and stuff like that, then you
right.
go in and like you feel like safe enough around them to like begin to learn.
Yeah. Listen, I enjoy his videos like immensely. I find that I have very similar tastes. I find that I like a lot of the same things he talks about. I find that I dislike a lot of the things that he dislikes as well. I would be much more harsher in my criticism. That's just me. You know, he's allowed to express himself the way that he feels. But I do find him genuine and honest. He just does it in his own unique way, which is very professional. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
When
Oh.
Personalise says he likes H24, the reactionaries think he's being a company man, but I think he's just not full. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to look at a perfume, to describe it, to observe it. And a lot of times we reviewers, we get caught up in comparing it to things that we think are great. And the things that we think are great, we've actually created this belief, because that's all it is a belief. What makes something great other than your belief of it? So
Yeah.
you're comparing it to things that we love without observing the perfume just for what it is, right? Without judging it, would just observe it for what it is and trying to enjoy it without, like, enjoy it in the sense of separating yourself from all the other perfumes that you're familiar with or you've experienced it. How does that perfume make you feel? So there's so many different ways to review perfumes. There's no right or wrong way either, right?
No, no, you are right. Oh,
You good?
I'm gonna go. I am a
You're out.
tired. I'm a tired
66.
duck.
All right. We got
I
66
will.
in the chat. It's time to go get the boys. The bois are waiting.
No shit.
Yeah, it's that Friday afternoon thing. But anyway, it's been an awesome chat. I really enjoyed this impromptu 3.5 hour stream with you and all the chatters in the box, all the lurkers. Hello to the lurkers. Even though we don't see you, we welcome you.
We feel you.
That you're here. It's great stream. Good.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about perfume, we talked about life, a little of everything, you know.
Yes, it was good.
Great stream. Like the stream on your way out, everybody, please. That would be wonderful. We got 69 likes. If there's anyone here that can give a like, that would be great. Just before we go, Belle, okay, Belle, thank you everybody that supported this. I appreciate it. It means the world. Please share, share these videos, share Belle, on Instagram or social media if you like. That would be very helpful. I would appreciate it. Let people know that we're here. Bring people in. Let this be, one of the great parts of the fragrance community and not just this channel, but all the friends of this channel, like Rich, Mitch, and Peter here, and Brian, and Anuj, and all the people that draw here, Ramsey, right? Make this a great place. Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bobby-Ono. A lot of good friends here. Galen. All right, Rich. When can we see you next on YouTube?
Possibly tomorrow I might stream.
All right. Any videos planned, scheduled?
Well, I did a video tonight, which dropped after you went live, so I don't know what's happening there.
There's Rich's channel. Head over there and subscribe to Rich, please.
Thank you. Thank you. So I might do a video tomorrow, but I'll probably be doing a stream tomorrow night myself, depending on how I'm feeling. And I'll be doing fragrance rotation on Sunday. So that'll be good.
Awesome. Look forward to it. Mika says, I love this. Bringing people together one perfume at a time. I love that. That's awesome. Well said, Mika. All right, guys. Yeah. Have a great weekend. Please don't forget to share, and have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.